Welcome to Grog Talk, episode 32. I'm James.
I'm Dan.
Where are we from today?
We are from the sign of the waltzing werebear.
We're trying to liven it up a little bit here because it's pretty quiet and they're looking at us weird.
This place is dead.
It's pretty dead. Come on, people out there. Wave
Hello.
your hands in the air.
Hello.
They're not saying a whole lot here.
No, this place is not happening.
It's not happening at all, and that's unfortunate because unlike the Dancing Werebear, less than 2 weeks away is Grog Con.
That's true.
October 11th through the 13th, and
light a candle.
You say that every week.
That's true. That's my go-to line.
That's your go-to line.
Light a candle for us.
Hey, so we're going to keep mentioning it because we're getting ready. You're working on a great tournament module. Slots are filling up. It's October 11th through 13th here in Orlando area in the great city of Kissimmee, right?
Well, we say Kissimmee. Everyone not from here says Kissimmee.
Ah, okay.
You knew that.
That's true.
You knew that.
Yes.
You know it's Kissimmee.
Well, it's Kissimmee. Anyway, it's South Orlando. That's the simplest way.
Very close to Disney.
It is very close to Disney. And the rooms there at the Days Inn by Wyndham are affordable. I can't speak of the quality of them. I just know they were affordable when I booked my room.
No chance of giant rats.
Maybe a giant goat. That's the. But no, it looks like a nice place. We're gonna have. Hey, is the Grog line?
Grog line
right?
is calling. It's not the Grog line.
Is it some kind of orientation you have, or
no one has? We only had one person ever call the Grog line. Literally only one, right?
Yes, we've had one.
Okay,
we've had one. So we'll have games, both tabletop miniature wargaming like Warhammer 40K, because we're part of the Crucible 8 event there. We'll have.
I like to think of Crucible 8 as being part of Grog Con.
Yes, I'm sure the hundreds of people who are going to that, they're actually going to pass through that and they're going to come to Grog Con. So, but once they get tired of tournament miniature play and tabletop games, there's an area for that. Or if you want to try that newfangled 5th edition, which there'll be games, you can come play the old school, the classics. We've got Call of Cthulhu, we've got Paranoia, we've got 1st edition. What am I missing? Am I missing something else?
Delta Green.
Yeah.
I believe there's going to be. I think Nick's running a dungeon game.
Oh, okay, that's
right.
He
submitted it. I don't know if it's posted yet. Yeah. Remember Dungeon, the board game?
Yeah, that's so super classic.
And Top Secret, he submitted too. I don't know if it's been posted.
I have not seen them, so
I haven't either.
I'm going to guess that some things are just going to be pickup games. That if he's there, he's just going to run them, which would be awesome. So we hope to see you there. Well, next we want to talk about. We see Mr. Bobby Reagan. Hello, he says hello on the chat. We welcome everyone in the
Bobby.
chat. He is a recent patron, and he has wanted to claim a spot in the Grog Empire, which is by far your favorite part of this series.
This is my favorite part.
So we will now bestow Bobby Reagan with his title.
Is he going to take more than Odenville? I hope. If not, he's very...
I think he's starting small. He wants to... Alabama, southern Alabama, is wide open, and maybe he's worried about a bunch of people as he spreads the word that they'll want to claim.
That's true. You do invite trouble, don't you?
Right.
If you take too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then interlopers. There could be sieges and intrigue. Game of Thrones, Alabama edition. So
maybe he's onto something.
And
small.
I would think he would have maybe gone for lower Alabama, like L.A. That's the.
Where is Odenville?
I thought it was in lower Alabama, but I'm sure he'll correct me.
He could be the last man standing.
He could be.
Or last man / woman standing. We're
That's
all
right.
down. He takes over the show.
Yeah, and we're assuming his gender by saying Bobby, but.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
But I feel
that's
like I feel based on the statistics from our website and other things, I have about an 83% chance of being right. So.
IE would be more likely to be. Don't you think IE would be more
North
likely
Central Alabama. Thank you, sir. So
Okay.
It's not lower Alabama. So the LA joke doesn't work.
And he's a man.
Yes. Thank you for claiming your gender. That's awesome. So.
Right. So he can be killed by the Nazgul.
That's right. That's right.
I am a man. Well, wait.
That's right. That's not good for you.
Perfect. That's wrong, Bobby. That's the wrong answer.
That's right.
I am no man.
That's right.
That's the
There's that one. Don't answer a man. And when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Exactly.
Those are the two things.
That's actually my tagline. I am no man. That's what I'm going to put on my tombstone.
I am no man. That's good.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Well,
let's get to the phone.
Let's roll this thing out.
Okay. All right.
So you rolling or I'm rolling? That's right.
I think you roll.
Right.
And I think, what do we got here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
You always count this.
15. I know.
15 divided by 2.
You want me to write on this? You don't want me to write on this?
Well, you wrote on it already. So 4.
I did? I wrote on this?
Oh, no, you didn't.
No, I would
on your monster.
Mine,
I
yes.
apologize. Yes.
Admiral.
Fine.
Because we know how close
That's right.
Odenville is to the ocean.
That's right.
North Central Alabama. That's right at the coast, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Our geography is really good.
He's got to claim more. He's got to head all the way south now. He's the admiral. He's got to head down.
It's 3 hours. So
he's got to get to Mobile. I know there's a big Civil War battle there. He's got to claim at least Mobile because he's the admiral.
Well, maybe he's retired there. Maybe he retired from there.
Okay.
Maybe he's, he could be, that could be his title, but actually he's moved on. Admiral.
Maybe it's just because he wears like a captain's hat or something.
One of those hats like that. Like
so he got the name the Admiral.
What is the hat? What is that hat called? The one like
no,
Napoleon had.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not tricorn because it's only 2, right?
Yeah. The captain of the watch or whatever.
All right. So now he could be the most or the. How do we do this? There's 1, 2, 3.
It can't be a female one, right? So
no.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So
okay,
D8 divided by 2. 3. Most.
Oh, this is good.
Admiral most. Good.
This is looking good.
Now we're on the D30 again. Right?
Oh, yeah.
This is why we love your dice. 26.
So that's 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Devout.
Devout. Most devout.
That's the Bible belt. Bobby, would that be the Bible belt?
I believe it. Admiral of the Blackfeet. That's it. I would say, well, if Alabama's not in the Bible Belt.
Fleet. What?
We have a grog fleet.
If Alabama's not in the Bible Belt, you don't know what it is?
I don't know what the Bible Belt is.
Tennessee, I guess. Okay, all right. Yeah,
another D30. I'm going to roll it again.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the problem with the die 30.
8.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellency.
Wow. Excellency. I think I spelled that wrong, but okay. We'll fix it later.
I'm not sure you did. I think you may have done a great job on that. Okay, another 15.
25, 13.
15. So, Emperor.
Right? Emperor, yeah.
15, 14, 13.
Wow. Excellency Emperor. How do you spell that? E-M-P-O-R?
E-M-P-E-R-O-R.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay.
Now we got a D60.
Well, yeah, what? D60. Oh, no.
It was 14.
Oh, that landed 14.
14.
You think?
It's 14.
I think
yeah, 14, so the second column, 14.
Oh, thank you. So that'd be right there.
Yeah.
Bloodletter.
Bloodletter.
Oh, this is good.
Emperor Bloodletter. Wow. Everyone's, I think if, my sons were listening to our podcast, real side segue, because again, we're thanks to our one iTunes listener says we completely derivate.
We're on the crazy train.
Well, this is so far such a good title that if you raise your tier up, we'll let you re-roll your title if you don't like it, right? Because
oh yeah, right. If you send us more money, right?
Because one of my sons was listening. You're like, yeah, send us money, and I'm going, no, it's not. That's not the point. You become a patron. You're like, no, just send us money. So he thought that was pretty funny. So
this is This is. And you know what's great about this is we can just now call and pretty much write Emperor Bloodletter.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's easy to remember.
Emperor Bloodletter, and then it's not over, and then a D30.
Oh, I really hope it's a 1.
12.
Oh, okay. So 15, 14, 13, 12.
Dominator.
That's
wow.
pretty good. The Dominator of Odenville. It's like this big, awesome title, and then it's just Odenville.
Congratulations there. That's not Sir. Emperor Bloodletter, Dominator. We will now decree your title. Are you ready?
Now, yeah, actually, we need to know these titles are only good for 2 weeks, and then you have to send
more money.
It's 2 weeks expiration date.
I think we wouldn't have any listeners or patrons, and we deserve that.
We would. All right, we're ready to do it. Where am I picking up? Whenever you stop.
I will stop here. So
got it. I see that. Yes.
And now we bestow to Bobby Regan, Admiral, most devout, excellency, Emperor,
Bloodletter, Dominator of Odenville, Alabama.
Congratulations. That is amazing. Your title is awesome-tastic. So congratulations.
Get a business card. What happens when the people in Odenville find out about this?
Well, they better start lining up.
But you know who's gonna be who's gonna be unhappy? The sheriff.
That's right.
I think Odenville's got a pretty.
Where is the sheriff in relation? We need to look in the DMG where they have the titles. You know,
is there a sheriff?
There
may be.
I feel like there was a sheriff back there. You know, but where is Bloodletter Dominator? The Emperor Bloodletter Dominator. That is just, I mean, that's pretty good.
Oh, the shield should be awesome. You need to have like a severed head, don't you think, or something?
Right.
You know, the crest.
Yeah. So I can't. They don't do. Now I'm gonna have to spend more time.
I have confidence in you.
Wow. Okay. So
no, you don't have to do the severed head. That's extra money.
No. It's...
Extra money, you get a severed head.
No.
Hey, listen, your time is valuable.
That's right.
If you're gonna spend the time doing that,
if he wants a severed head, he'll have to provide the severed head.
Yeah, you should just start with like a crest with just a solid color.
Right.
And then there's like add-ons.
Right. Then you have to go out and
Different prices of a price list.
You know, you just had a senior go through high school. They had to get their high school pictures, right? You want to talk about bloodletting. That's bloodletting. When you want to take graduation pictures. No, sheriff is not on here. It should be, you would think, but on the structure.
Oh, Cyber Heston's invading Finland. Well, he wants to. Maybe should we just go? Well, I guess it's out there now. He posted it, right? I could really use it. That's right. You could use a bleach across the ball thing.
Well, hey, you know, whatever moves we do, we need to do at some point pontoon boats. Nice. Well, I think that's all they need. They need some pontoons and. I mean, fortunately, Sweden and Finland is there's that other pesky country between them, but no, there isn't. Norway's on the east, and then Sweden. They can just. I'm sure there's some fjords that they have to go through. I'm not sure what a fjord is, but I know it's up there.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we're showing our ignorance here. So again, congratulations, Bobby. I will post that this week on the heraldry screen, which you can see at grogcon.com. Yes, Norway's to west. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're exactly right. I should know this because I was watching a World War II thing, and I know the former Soviet Union, now Russia, is next to Finland, then Sweden, then Norway.
Oh yeah, the Russo-Finnish War, right?
That's right.
They invaded Finland, right?
A couple of times. First time it didn't work out.
Which is interesting because if you had played a war game with that, then if you were the Germans, you would also be playing. Finland would kind of be on your side. They're not an Axis country, right?
But I think that happened. I think
39.
Yeah, well, it was 39-40, but they were already, the Russians and the Germans were already in the pack. So I think they had already carved up Poland. So, by the way, this is Grog Talk. We talk about old school games, but
not World War
II. But there's some wonderful things out there. All right, let's keep moving on. Swedish Challenge update. Again, we have Cyber Heston out there. Good morning, sir. Good afternoon for you.
I'd like to say, before you mention it, I like looking at this. It looks like we're probably not doing well with the Swedish Challenge. The only reason it says Swedish Challenge, and then it says Japan number 38.
Right.
So I've got a feeling you're going to be giving me bad news about Sweden.
So part of, I've seen throughout history that when you're in charge of a vast world empire, you focus on the good things. You don't focus on, we don't focus on the defeat at Gallipoli. We focus on the victories in the Seine or somewhere else. So this is we were last week number 38 in Japan.
That's great.
So it was a huge spike. We were number 400 and something, went up to 38 again. I've captured that screenshot, so we have it for all posterity.
Oh, great. Did you capture the screenshot? Because we were number 1 in Japan, weren't we?
We were at number 1 for 30 seconds.
The preseason.
The preseason. But this is the season, 38.
That's awesome.
We're in the top 100. So the Japan Challenge, if we meet the top 10, you thought Sweden would be expensive. We're flying to Japan.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really expensive.
And I don't know anyone in Japan. At least in Sweden, we have Martin who can help us.
Yeah, we don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait. No, David Thompson's right close. He's very close.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm sure
he would just take the Grog fleet.
Yeah,
he would take the Admiral.
He would call the Admiral Dominator.
Bloodletter.
And they would send the pontoon boats. How far could it be? You're exactly right. Because Korea, Japan, Australia, it's all out there.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I apologize. I'm fortunate that you are, like me, not like me, very adept at the other side of the world, geography.
The geography.
That's right.
I'm good at the geography.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. So iTunes, we didn't get a new iTunes.
Skip.
Right next door, exactly.
Skip. Sounds
Skip.
like no reviews on iTunes.
Well, we had one last week. I mean, so
right
again, if it's always nice we get iTunes reviews, that means more people hear the shenanigans, so that's always nice.
It's about the long game.
All right.
I'm too old. Cyberhouse, I'm too old for a long game. There's no long game left.
The long game is Saturday.
The long game, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the long game is this weekend.
That's right. We're trying to make every weekend count.
Right. The long game is for younger people.
So, Dan, I'm sure you remember this because this was your suggestion.
Yes.
You wanted two things added. You wanted to this random encounter, which we're about.
Oh, I don't have. Do you have your DDs and demigods?
Here you go. You can, while you look that up.
Yeah, because a percentage.
Right. So, for those who didn't listen last week, Dan is, when he's on fire, when he is really creative, which happens for about an hour and a half here, he gets the juices flowing.
Right.
And he decides he needs to give me more work. So he suggested.
That should be my suggestions. Should be more work for you.
Yeah, well,
at the end of the
that's
podcast.
a standing suggestion. So he suggested / and again, I try to accommodate him because he does make the trek over here.
Yeah, if Papa's not happy, no one's
happy.
Right.
That he wanted to, before the random encounter, see if the appeal to the deity works. He wants to roll that first. And then we're playing top of the mountain with the random encounters now.
And if the deity wins, the deity is the one actually.
Right, and then that segment's over, which I'm okay with because I'm not sure who's going to defeat the deity. So,
now, and the good news is we've got a chance at Cthulhu, right? Because don't you have the?
No, I wish I had to call it Cthulhu.
Poor Blaine. Return to room 5.
If found. Yeah. So you're going to determine if a deity is going to assist the goat or the random monster.
Okay. Spur of the moment intervention, right? Because not a lot of people, I don't know why I say not a lot of people, I don't know why I would say that, but some people might not know that there is actually a discussion in here about divine intervention.
We should do a segment just on deities, by the way, so that's a good idea. We have some we have deities, we have initiative, and we have weaponless combat that's been suggested. We'll need to get like David Thompson on there, someone the Chamberlain, most august, the shrewd. From Australia, or someone who can help us with weaponless combat, aerial combat, waterborne combat, because there's a few things.
How long do they think we're doing this?
I think we're doing this till we drop dead because.
Wow. So we've got like 5 years of this. Great.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Depending on how the treatments work.
Based on the insurance chain. Based on what my life insurance company tells me.
I mean, yeah. So we say that but then we're after we get through the classes, we want to make sure we have plenty of material.
I thought this is what I want you to do. I want you to come to my funeral, and I want you to try to resurrect. I want you to go up there with.
I'll do divine intervention for you.
Divine intervention, and I want you to cast a resurrection. I want you to go up there and roll to see if I make my con roll. All right. So, have you been?
Thank you.
Have you been exemplary in your? Who is?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Praying?
So right now, shouldn't we? I suggest that the goat is on the top of the mountain. We roll the random monster, and then the goat should be calling for divine because he's the king of the mountain.
Oh.
The goat should pray to its deity, and then
But it's just going to be a random deity.
Well, right.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fine.
I think we should roll that first because you want to do combat. That was the whole idea, king of the mountain.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know because else to your point, who is praying? Who is asking for divine intervention?
No, that's right.
So
that's right.
So let's do the random encounter first, and
random encounters.
So we're going to do the random encounter.
All right.
Oh, you're exactly right. Menion has commented, the book that shall not be named is the best for weaponless combat. Yeah, especially option 1, which literally you just roll to hit, and he's talking about weaponless combat.
How much, and this is probably another conversation, I have Ostric, but I don't know how much Ostric incorporates the book that shall not be named.
I don't know, that is a good
It
question.
didn't seem to me like a lot, but I really don't know, because I don't know a lot about the book that shall not be named. All right, well, let's figure out where we are.
Yeah, that's right. Let's figure out where we are.
We're not on a mountain. Well, this is just figuring out where we are.
Figuratively. Because it could be a throne room or whatever. So here's the D10. 6.
Oh. Outdoor.
Nice.
Perfect.
Exactly. Where?
Right. So now you're right. So now you want to roll a, what does it look like?
So
4. I'm sorry, die 6. I didn't turn the page. Die 6.
Die 6.
There'll be more. Takes a while.
3.
3. Temperate wilderness. Now,
that's good. Temperate wilderness.
I need a die 6.
Die 6. 1. Mountains.
You got to be kidding
This
me.
thing rolls itself.
This is a sign.
That is a sign. This is an amazing
Who would
segment.
be your deity? Like if you like, who's your favorite deity? You're like, you get one deity, James, but it's got to be in here somewhere.
Oh, it's got to be in here. It can't be like Allah or something, right? So.
Right. No, who would be?
Oh,
or Christ.
I like Dionysus.
I know. Okay. Yeah, that is.
That is my
so
favorite.
you go crazy with that. Yeah.
Dionysus is my favorite. That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
Drinking. You have to be slightly intoxicated to do or the Green Man. Both. You notice I have a theme there.
Who's the Green Man?
From Pelennor, the Green Man.
Oh, the Green Man. Yes.
You have to be intoxicated. Yeah.
Mine would be Grump's son.
The dumb one. He's
exactly. He's really strong.
Idiot. Yeah, he's a complete idiot.
He like attacks the rock if he stubs his toe. He's got like a 6 intelligence for deity.
Right.
That would be mine. I think he's awesome.
Yeah. Well, at least,
I like that guy.
but he's a male, so that's good.
That's right. That's right.
Unlike what you claim. So.
Okay.
All right.
On the mountain, right? So, we're on the mountain. That crazy, yeah. We're on the mountain, on the top of the mountain.
11.
A mountain dwarf.
A mountain dwarf. This is perfect. Wait,
this is gonna be good.
Well, now the mountain dwarf has to pray to the deity.
Well, and I think the mountain dwarf's deity should be. Don't you think it should be one of the dwarf deities?
Yes.
If it gets it, then
of course.
Right. Because that wouldn't make any sense.
Right. Absolutely.
So wow. So this is why. So a mountain. This is meant to be. So a mountain dwarf is walking along and runs into. Oh, but it's just straight out of the monster manual, so you don't get like level 10 or whatever, right? No.
You're one hit dice, aren't you? Yeah, you're one hit dice.
There's a little reference to it on when you turn the page, right? Mountain dwarfs, yeah, it's all the way, it's above eel there. On page 36 at the top. These creatures, how rude.
They're creatures.
Are similar to their cousins. The hill dwarves. Yeah, because first we're supposed to talk about them, aren't we, before we have the combat? So aren't we supposed to talk about mountain dwarves? I mean,
right.
That's our creature.
All right. Well, I looked already, so you can't ask me any things. I knew they were common.
The only difference are size. So are they taller or shorter?
I would think they're taller.
They're taller. They're 4.5 feet.
And they have bigger hit dice, it says.
1 + 1.
Yep.
Whereas, 1 for the dwarf.
Yep.
So this is interesting to me because
they employ fewer crossbows and more spears.
A 0 level human gets how many hit die? What is
Less
it? What's
than
the
1.
hit point?
It's 1 to 4, I think. Men.
So in other words, I'm trying to get the different.
I know normal citizens or whatever are men. See, it depends if they're a brigand, a berserker, a
I just
pirate.
meant like a 0, like a dude.
A normal person, a merchant. Look, 1 to 6 hit points. It says.
So it's actually better to be a dwarf.
In the monster manual. Now, if you go to the DMG where they're showing about townspeople, or they have like sedentary peasants versus active peasants, they're usually like 1 to 5 to 2 to 5.
I didn't even know that was there.
Yes.
So they're typically.
I'm sure David or Martin or one of those folks can look up the page number 4, where you can look for hit points for townspeople, because it shows that it's somewhere.
Because it's always fun to slaughter townspeople.
Right. Well, because when you're using your Vorpal weapon, how many hit points do they have?
Right.
As you're running through them?
Right.
Yeah.
37. Did I kill him?
That's right. Is he dead?
No. I always love when like a party someone will do like 12 points of damage, and you're like, yeah, no, just like whatever. Like they don't know what the creature is or something like that, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, he looks a little hurt, and they're all like stunned. Like they all of a sudden the realization that this thing could have like
a lot of
40 hit points. Yeah. So they use more spears. They require more spears. So they're running around the mountains
and less crossbow.
So obviously they're not going to be living on the mountain. They're in the mountains, right?
Right. Most of the time.
So would it be like Lord?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
So where are the other dwarves living?
They live in hills. They're hill dwarves.
Because I would have thought that the typical ones live in the mountains, but so they live in the. All right. So
Rocky hills are the favorite abode of these sturdy creatures, aka the dwarves.
So if you think about it, the mountain dwarves, really is more. When I think of the typical dwarf, because I think of Lord of the Rings, that's with the mountain dwarf.
I would say so.
Okay.
But they're saying here that they're hill dwarves. And you know what also likes to live in hills and burrows? Gnomes, which is why they're redundant. A gnome is a fancy hill dwarf.
No, my friend. No. You're so wrong. Gnomes have a much greater love and appreciation for things above ground too, like animals and plants. Dwarves are greedy. Dwarves are greedy. They, you know what their problem is? They dig too deep. You know what happens
They
when
have
you
dug
dig too deep?
Oh, certainly the mountain ones did.
They dug too deep.
They dug too deep. That's
Wait,
right.
no, okay. This says mountain dwarves 16 strength can work up to 7th level, 7th to 8th level, 18th to 9th level. Is that consistent with the player's handbook? That's what I want to know. Is there a differentiation
I don't know
between mountain dwarves?
That could be.
This came out first, though, so this
Right.
supersedes,
So it's
right?
2 years after. Let's see if he was consistent.
Okay. So, dwarves. Fighter is 9.
Minimum strength 16 can be up to 7th level. That's what it says. I'll read the monster manual. You check the other one.
Oh, okay. You read the monster. Okay, so, all right.
Morning, Vic.
So, what does it say? Hello, Vic?
Well, David says they're the same. So, dwarves with mountain dwarves 16 strength can work up to 7th level.
Dwarf fighters are less than 7 strength, 7th level, yes.
Yep, 17 strength 8th level and 18 strength 9th level. There you go.
That is consistent. So,
hey, it's consistency. We like it.
Do they talk? Well, what about? Do they talk about that with hill dwarfs or no?
No.
So really, they made that Gygax made it sound like there was some sort of difference with mountain dwarves and hill dwarves, but in the end, it's not. I mean, he doesn't actually state a difference, but you think if they say that about, he says it about mountain dwarves, you think that somehow is different, right? Why would you say that about mountain dwarves?
Right.
You know what's unfortunate?
What's unfortunate?
I love how some of these, they indicate the pets they'll have, and they talk about it for hill dwarves. They're not really called hill dwarves. You get the wolves and the brown bears, but then you don't get anything for mountain dwarves. So
how about a mountain goat?
Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Right.
Well, no.
They're going to have to fight to the death, though.
Mountain goats don't want to be inside,
True.
do they? They want to be outside.
That's true.
Right? Remember it was the Far Side? What do you think we talked about that, right? Where they see the two goats.
Yeah, I don't remember this one.
Yeah, and they say, why are goats? Oh, yeah, so it's two pilots. Mm-hmm. And they say some goats on a cloud. And they say, that's weird. Why would there be goats on a cloud? Well, I was about to crash into a mountain.
Exactly. That's good.
Too soon?
Be here all week. No, I haven't lost any family members to a plane crash, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right, so mountain dwarves. Now, mountain dwarves can be player characters.
Yes.
Is that the only, in the first edition, is that the only different type? No, because
that's halflings.
Halflings.
Yeah.
Elves have to be high elves, though.
We had that discussion on elves.
Right. That changed.
Until the book that shall not be named, yes.
Right.
Or if the DM prerogative to say, I will allow a wood elf or one of these other variants.
Is there any difference to mountain dwarves? Like, why would you want to be? So when
they live longer.
Has anyone ever had a character die of old age? Do you think?
Well, again, it's if you're using time and being a good DM, which again is a lot of work, and you're running a campaign that lasts more than 2 levels, time is important.
400 years, though.
Yeah. Well, run into ghosts. You use haste spells. It's problematic. And the other thing is you're not starting at age 20. If you're if you go to the tables, a mountain dwarf, just like the elves, they're 100 years old plus or minus when they're starting their adventure campaign.
That's true.
And even more. I'm just throwing that number out there like I know what I'm talking about.
So I don't see any difference in the
yeah, so if you're a mountain dwarf, matures between 60 and 175. So, you'd be old if you were a human. So again, it's a way to kind of, make the characters feel real.
Gray elves.
We're not doing that.
2,000 years.
2,000 years later.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
There you go.
And then it's like the half orc. Poor guy.
So David's keeping us on task because he just reminded Vic that we're still talking about goats versus dwarves. So
that's right. Okay. Well, yeah, but that was but mountain dwarf was that's what you do. You talk about. We're supposed to, right? That's our monster.
That is our monster, and he's 1+1 hit dice. We have to remember that because against the goat.
Oh, this is gonna be rough.
Right. Yeah. So we're saying he was walking out of the mountain inexplicably. So now the dwarf is going to go for divine.
Yeah, because he sees
death. He sees the dead gnoll that's splattered down the road. He's down. Remember the gnoll was walking around trying to hunt for his family, got killed. Now
so
the
he's
dwarf
going to investigate what's going on.
Right. He heard the sound, came out of the mountain. And he
sees the goat eating chewing on the knoll.
Carnivorous attack goats.
Right.
This is great.
All right. And he's like, oh my God, yeah. So and dwarves we know dwarves are not very sneaky or silent.
No, they're not.
So yeah, typically. That goat looks up, and the first thing a sturdy dwarf does, upon coming across a mountain goat is pray.
Pray, exactly.
Oh my God.
That's right. Oh, Morden, or one of the which deity do you want?
Well, do you have the best of 3?
Yeah, of course we do. Behind you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we'll find out, right? So which one it'll be?
Yeah, it may not matter.
Random.
Okay, so
all right.
So
has he been? Yeah, let's say he's
completely
been,
pious. He's
okay. So that's a straight 10% chance that some creature will be sent to his or aid.
Right.
If this is the first time the character is asked
we'll
for.
say it's the first time.
If 0 is rolled, there is a percentage chance equals. So yeah, so it's rolling a percentage, right? 1 to 10, some creature sent. 0, 0.
So that actually makes 11% chance something will happen.
That's right.
If you do it that way.
That's right. That's right. There's a percentage chance equal to the level of experience. Oh, that's terrible. So he's first level.
He's first level.
He's 1 + 1.
He's 1 + 1.
Okay. All right. So
you could say 1 or 2. Okay. Well, no, I think you should roll. This is your segment. You roll your percentages.
Okay. Here we go.
Carnivorous Ghost. Yeah. Welcome to first edition.
I am praying.
So you're praying to generic dwarven deity because we haven't picked it.
You realize that he really is. This is life or death. Because that goat's like, isn't that goat 3 hit dice?
He doesn't know that. He just knows that a knoll, which is much larger than him, is dead.
That's right. That's not a good
feasted
sign.
on.
Did the goat take any hit point damage?
No, because
he down.
No, if you from last week, I know every week to week. Remember the knoll shot an arrow, missed wildly. He charged, and he did 16 points of damage.
Do you get new hit points for the next week? If you lose hit points, like if the goat takes damage.
If you rest.
Or like the goat cleric helps him. All right, here we go. Come on. Here we go.
Because this would be a segue.
Can I roll again?
No, you can't roll again. What is this? 5th edition? We're just rolling multiple times. So he looks up.
Waiting, yeah.
He looks up, and his prayers, his supplications fall on deaf ears. So it is now initiative.
Who's who?
Well, I'm always the interloper. You're the goat, right?
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
You're the king of the mountain.
I'm a goat.
Yeah, you're the king of the mountain. So let's get this over with. So
do we know how many hit points I have? Do you remember?
I don't think we rolled it because we didn't need it.
No, it wasn't necessary.
It wasn't not necessary.
This is awesome. Yeah, 2 to 16. Damn, this is great.
You're
I like being
the
goat.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be here for
the greatest of all time. He's the goat.
Another meal. ate a knoll.
He's looked up his little what is that beard? The beard's
it's all bloody.
Yes. It's horrible.
There's like some entrails hanging off of it. It's disgusting.
He's ready for more.
It's like a buffet.
All right, Vic, you got your module. It's like a chupacabra, right?
The goat
sucker.
Yes,
Yeah,
that would be great. We need to commission Carlos.
92. Oh, he's got a hammer and pick.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a hammer. He's going to use his hammer.
Oh wait, no. There's no. So I guess is there no chance that? Is there a chance that I'm surprised? Well, you've been praying.
Oh yeah.
You should really have a chance to surprise me. What do you think? Like, should the contender get to surprise the?
No, I think it's a straight roll, unless they have some kind of surprise.
But you've already been praying.
Well, then how would I surprise you? I was doing.
That really should be your turn.
It was my turn.
Okay.
So I think that was my surprise round. You were feasting.
I'm going to kill you while you're praying?
No, you were feasting, and I think you were feasting. Let's say I will take the surprise. I'll take a segment. I do a quick prayer. Nothing happens.
No, we'll roll for
a surprise or initiative.
So we're for surprise.
Okay,
we'll just do like this.
3.
You're not surprised. I'm all like
2 segments.
I'm eating. Oh man.
Well, I'm throwing my hammer at you.
So you came up there and you saw it and you started to pray. It didn't get answered, but I didn't.
Well, I gotta find out how far.
Or you know what I probably did was I probably just went back to eating. Right. I looked up, I saw you praying.
Yeah, you're like, I'll come get you later.
I'm like, this guy's pathetic.
Oh, I'm 90 yards away. That's not good. I don't think I can throw my hammer that far. So I can't.
Oh, how long does it?
I move at 6. And how far does the goat move?
18.
Can I just jump off the mountain?
He's running. You flee.
I want to flee, but
I get an opportunity.
I move. No, we're 90 yards away.
So we're 90 yards away.
So I have 2 segments.
So in a segment, you can't move. Like you're quite right. It's not like you get extra time.
I could move like divide 6. You divide that by 10, so it's 6 yards. I can move 6 yards a segment.
All right,
because I'm moving at 6. So I guess I'm gonna charge, but I won't finish my charge till initiative.
Oh, okay.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna charge.
All right.
Charge?
So
let's go. So it's initiative time, right? Initiative time, right?
All right. So
you've interrupted my meal.
That's right.
I'm really angry.
1. 5. Okay, roll your hit.
This dice.
I'm not sure this is all right, but
This die was awesome last time.
Yes, it was.
Wait, wait, I think I may have been using a 30-sided.
No, that would make it more complicated.
Ah, 9.
I still think you hit. His armor class. Oh, armor class is 4.
Oh, boo.
What? 3 + 1 hit dice?
Wait, number appearing 1 to 12.
No,
friends?
1. No, we went over this. It's always 1
See how
appearing.
many are there? Let's see.
No, they're not. That's not.
Look how many ghosts I've got.
There's not. They're back in the goat village, and some of them, 50% of them are young. By the way, it says if 7 or more encountered, they're young. Nice try.
Oh.
You want me to slaughter your goat children? I don't think so. You needed a 12. You missed.
Oh man.
So now I'm attacking you. I'm +2 to hit. By the way.
Why?
Because I'm charging.
Oh.
20.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about. Dwarf power.
Ah.
That's it.
Oh, for this segment, I wonder if we should use good hits and bad misses. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll have to. We didn't call that. So.
Oh, and then that's more complicated. It's not a 20.
Hammer was that 2 to 5, I think.
All right, hang on. I'm rolling my hit points. I want to know the goat hit points, right?
Yeah,
8
many goat hit points. Yeah.
All right. 6.
Nice. That's nothing.
That's weird.
That's with
7.
7.
All right.
7, 6. You have 14 hit points.
14 hit points.
All right, 14.
Yeah.
All right, you got smacked by the dwarf. He prayed, but he's a pious.
Why are you attacking me?
Because you attacked. You charged me.
No, you charged.
So who shot first? You shot first.
Man, I'm gonna whack you off this mountain.
2 to 5. I'm rolling for strength if I have accept some kind of strength here.
Oh, all right.
6 and 4.
Okay, that's fair.
Oops.
Oh, and a 1.
I got one more.
Oh, you're a PC?
Yeah, I'm 13. No, I don't have exceptional strength.
But you did a PC thing.
Yeah,
that was 4.
I did 2 hit points on you.
That was very PC.
That's
2?
right. 2. You have 12. Initiative.
All right.
If he wins.
2.
Oh, simultaneous.
Oh, this is good. Okay, this is fitting. Shall we roll at the same time?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's go.
16. That's a hit. I missed.
You
do 2 to 16.
That's 2 8 sides.
2 to 8.
So how many hit points do you have?
We don't know yet. I'm not going to roll.
You don't want to roll?
I want to see what you get. Because it may not matter. 5 hit
it could
points.
matter.
It could matter. I have 7. I have 7 because he's 1 plus 1.
Yeah.
He's at 2 hit points.
You're down to 2. Yeah.
Strike again. Oh, I missed.
You missed, buddy. All right, it's initiative. Ready?
Oh, simultaneous again. It's a fight to the death. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, roll. 18?
13.
I think you hit 2, but at least I'm going to hit you one more time before I die.
All right, so simultaneous?
Yeah, you take 2 more, and you do your damage.
I'm very annoyed.
You are.
8?
God.
And an 8.
Oh, God. Save me, generic deity, and he strikes you. It hits you like dings you, and then you just headbutt him in his
Let's do one final praise. You're going through the air.
Oh! He got a 4.
An animal appears.
But
looks at you and says,
your head's decapitated.
Around. It's like, he blinks in, he blinks out.
He blinks us up.
Too late, buddy.
The blink dog appeared.
Yeah.
And then he left.
He's like, oh.
I hate this delay in the messages. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Your prayers are answered too late.
So you're down.
It was the Wi-Fi. The connection wasn't good.
Right.
It was like dial-up or something like that. You need more bandwidth.
Why couldn't you roll that the first time? If I would have had a blink dog, this thing would have been completely different.
Well, see, you should roll. You're gonna roll next time because you're the poor sap who.
Yeah. Well, maybe I won't be a poor sap next time.
Where's that orc of mine? Is he still alive out there?
Yeah, he survived.
He's the winner.
He killed the. Yeah.
And then retired.
Yeah, he retired. He put the belt up. He saw where this was going.
The goat.
He is the goat.
This is what I think. To make it fun, though, maybe what you could do is I think we have the goat's hit points. We need to remember the goat's down. Like, it'll just be an endless people coming. So now the goat's eating the dwarf.
That's right.
And some will come.
So from now on, it's the mountain. Well, we can roll for anywhere, but they'll be having to approach the mountain.
Right, yeah. This is it could be like a giant cart.
All right. Well, that was good. So hopefully you all like this. If you don't like it, put it in the comments and we'll stop this jibber jabber.
There's nothing more exciting than watching other people play D&D.
Is this really playing D&D?
Not really.
Sure. It's
This is probably the most fun adventure I've ever been in, actually.
Wow.
It's top 5.
I've DM'd with you for many times.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
and I think other people have DM'd.
That's
with
awkward.
You.
I've just offended a lot of people.
I think Carlos Lysing's DM'd for you. Vic has DM'd for you.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
No, this would be in the top 10 though, because that was pretty good. You know what I liked about that? It was so random.
It was random. Well, you like random. Well, speaking of random, good segue. Random spell. Your next favorite part. Random spell selection. And part of the reason we do this is because as some of our early episodes show, I have always filtered my spells based on almost being a power gamer. And so there's a lot of spells that I go, nah.
Push and man.
Push, still. Mending. But, thanks to our great community, we have... yeah, that's right.
People are rooting against me.
Yeah.
You're the fan favorite now. Yeah, goats are good. Goats are good.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway.
Okay.
This is an opportunity for us to look at spells that we don't like, that we don't know much about. Just so one of our dear friends, the Crown Prince, the Honorable Scourge of the North Star State, is advising Dan to bring multiple characters to the next session that he runs.
Oh yes, I'm insulted. Like it needs to get like you need to insult Vic Dorso to get killed.
How much
in
more
his
pain?
Adventure. Right.
How much more pain?
Right.
Well, then I think he would let you live to the very end.
He does let me live. He imprisons me.
Yeah.
That's what he
You
does.
become a slave of the
right.
Of the,
you're happy because you lived. All right, let's do it.
All right, roll percentages.
Got it.
First, we're gonna figure out if it's a clerical or magic user.
Have you noticed I'm getting better at picking out the right dice. Have you noticed that?
That's good. That's good. We are going to a tournament.
64.
It's a magic user. Okay. Now let's roll for illusionist.
Come on,
less than 10. Nope, 99. That's really high. Roll D10.
Okay, D10. God, you just know that. You know that. Okay, yeah, because
we got to keep this thing going.
How many levels?
There's 9 levels.
Got it. All right.
That's a D8. You were doing well.
I jinxed it.
6
level spell. That's pretty high. All right, 24.
Right, so
I'm doing a 12 and a 6, right?
That's it. 6th level magic.
12.
Number 12.
Right?
Yeah.
Invisible Stalker.
Nice.
I've actually used that. An adventure I ran had an invisible stalker. You guys fought? Were you there? Were you fighting the invisible stalker? So you moved over something, and the invisible stalker popped out.
I believe, something like that.
Maybe in Morkindane.
Yeah, I think Morkindane's Manor.
They're kind of nasty, aren't they?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So they're in the monster manual, but the spell itself is...
Oh, that's right. So I'll get the monster manual.
Yeah, so 6th level spell, magic user. And again, 6th level magic user spells, which is good. We're going to be talking about magic users. There's so many good. 3rd level and 6th level, for me, are probably the 2 best levels of magic. There's so many good spells.
So you approve.
Oh, I approve.
So this is so obviously this must be a power gamer spell.
This is, it's wonderful. It's because it's in my opinion, so 5th level you get Conjure Elemental, which is super powerful but kind of a pain. You have to concentrate. They can break your concentration. They can go crazy.
Really? They have like a rogue?
You can have
like
a rogue.
The water elemental, just like...
Right. There's a 5, if I remember correctly, we're not talking about Conjure Elemental, but there's a 5% chance per round or per turn that your concentration, or if you're attacked, or in some argue if you even move, your concentration can be broken. And so then the elemental they're angry that you suck them out of the elemental plane.
They turn on you.
Right, and they turn on you.
That's awesome.
So you either have to put protection from evil or protection spell, or you have to make a magic circle to do that. So Nico, my son, the production goblin, his character's high enough level, and he's done it a couple of times, and the party's been pretty exasperated because it's a problematic spell. It can be super. It's like artillery. It's something that's really good, but it's a hassle. This. Again, you can give it specific tasks. It's so in the player's handbook says, spell summons invisible stalker from the elemental plane of air, 8 hit dice monster, will obey and serve this in performance of whatever task. However, the creature is bound to serve. It does not from loyalty or desire. Therefore, it will resent prolonged missions, and it will attempt to revert instructions accordingly. And so then you can go look in there. And the stalker will follow instructions even hundreds or thousands of miles distance. So that's pretty amazing. And it takes 1 round to cast.
So how long?
Oh, you're not looking at the monster.
Oh yeah, I've got it too. I got it right here too. Yeah. So I was just looking at the spell and some of these. So you summon it. So 1 round.
Right.
Oh, so that's a long time, right? Because round's not bad. No, round's nothing.
It's a minute.
That's a minute. That's nothing. So it serves you. So I call this thing. So you want to use it in combat, perhaps? Or I guess I can have it attack somebody down the road, right? Because at a distance, right?
Right. You could say, go get me, this is, depending on the DM, if they're not judicious enough. Let's say, we need to find the sword of whatever. You could send the invisible stalker to get it. If you have a magic crystal ball, and you know the person, and they have the sword, you could say, okay, invisible stalker, go get it.
That's great.
This is we're going to talk about magic users, but this is why they become very challenging for inexperienced DMs as it gets higher and higher, because they have spells which can break the setup of the game. When you have abilities like you can see in walls and you can teleport and you can do a bunch of things, it changes the dynamic, which is why a lot of the higher level modules, they nerf. Tumahara is a classic example. There's a lot of spells that don't work the right way, and they justify it because he's, the Archmage, the Archlich. But that's the mitigating thing. Your game typically changes.
They're game changers.
They are game changers.
The Invisible Stalker will take down that goat.
I feel like the Invisible Stalker will take the goat.
And a surprise on 1 to 5. Yeah. So if you roll a 5, you get 5 segments.
5 segments, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so the Invisible Stalker is a creature from the elemental plane of air, normally encountered on the material plane, only due to the conjuration of some magic user. Causes the creature to serve. So yeah, you really do need to read this, obviously, as well. This conjuration causes the creature to serve for a period on this plane. They roam the astral plane, and if they're encountered there, well, that's not good. They can be dimly seen. So I guess are they invisible on the material?
That's hence the name.
Yeah, right? It makes sense, the Invisible Stalker. Otherwise, or unless their opponents are able to detect or see invisible objects, their invisibility causes opponents to subtract 2 from the hit dice rolls. That's standard, isn't it?
Well, visibility normally is -4, so that's interesting.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah. Unless they're on their own plane, they're simply.
I'm pretty sure it's -4. I've always said it's -4 when you look at invisibility, and even then, it's invisibility is another one we have to.
Do you only get one mission for it? One set up on a mission.
Yes, a mission.
A mission. Does it say?
Right. It says a specific quest or mission, and that if you try to expand it, they're going to try to weasel their way out of it.
Oh, but okay.
This is the classic wish thing. Are you going to be super literal, or are you going to use the intent of it? And what the books are saying is that they're going to resent any long tasks.
Yeah, once a mission.
Yeah.
So right, so they're like, your mission is to serve me forever.
Right, and then anger comes.
Yes, and it's probably not good to have an angry. Do you think the angry invisible stalker, like after it's done or something, will it like turn on you or something like that?
Well, I wanted to see if there was some clarifying thing in the DMG, but the book is silent on. There's no more explanation under the DMG in page 46.
It's free, yeah.
Well, again, that's how you run NPCs. It's clear these creatures don't feel like they. I mean, think of the invisible stalker. How many wizards there are in the complete multiverse? Mm-hmm. At some point, and it doesn't say they have a lifespan. They may live forever or whatever. They've been probably summoned multiple times in their life. They're very frustrated by this. They're constantly being pulled in and out of the material plane of air.
Yeah.
Separated from their invisible stalker family. They were probably working on a project. They're probably working in the garage, and all of a sudden, they get sucked out.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would be happy. But apparently, they got to fulfill this task. We're going to get it done as quickly as possible. Yeah, so, we don't know how many times. This could be like the 5,000th being pulled in. They're probably a little bit resigned, kind of like an Uber driver.
Yeah.
It's their job, but they're not too happy about it for the most part. That's what I look at them as.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's involuntary. They do their servitude.
Right. I mean, they're not getting paid that much. Or maybe there is some air elemental thing, but it's involuntary servitude. That's probably the way to look at it.
And they're highly intelligent, so they know what's going on.
Or it's Pokemon. They're like Pokemon, which I don't think you know about. They're powerful creatures that are to serve their children masters.
Their magic resistance is 30%. Does that mean that a particular invisible stalker who's cleaning out his garage has a 30% chance of it not working?
Well, and that is interesting. They have a magic resistance, but yet they don't have magic resistance to invisible stalker spell.
Right.
That is interesting. How would you rule that? I mean, I'm sure obviously it doesn't say they have to get the magic resistance save, but they have magic resistance, but they don't resist the magic.
because you cast a spell.
Right. And you're 12th level. So
yeah, it says saving throw. What saving throw? No, how does magic resistance? So magic resistance, how does that work?
All right. So magic resistance, and it's interesting. There's no description of it except in your favorite thing in the DMG.
Well, wait, isn't it described here? Magic resistance at the beginning.
It may be there, but it's also described.
Right, you go there. I'll go here.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about there. It's always in there.
And have you looked in the glossary?
That's where it is. That's the only place.
Oh, really? Magic? Yes. That's where you're going to the glossary?
Yes, that's where it is. Oh, it is there. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was in both areas.
Indicates. So this is from the Monster Manual.
Yep.
Indicates a percentage chance of any spell.
Right, absolutely failing in the monster's presence. That's what it
In
says?
the monster's presence. But you
Okay,
know
so
what?
they copied it from that to this.
But here's the thing, though, is are you casting the spell? You know what I mean? This is sort of like, hey, I'm like going to throw the spell on you.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening with the invisible stalker? I'm like, I mean, I guess it is, but
Well,
it's a little different.
I mean, it's targeting something. I mean, how unless there's some kind of lottery system that they pull these stalkers, it's targeting the one. So magic resistance works. It's a base. Your percentage. You roll a percentage. You roll less than that. The spell that would either affect it or target it doesn't work on them, and it's adjusted based on the level of the spellcaster. So if they're less than 11th level, you add to the magic resistance. If they're more than 11th level, it's reduced.
Right.
So in theory, yes, if you were like a 17th level magic user, his magic resistance would be 0 and it would automatically work. Oh, that's interesting too.
Oh, do you realize that the magic resistance of a creature has an effect on certain existing spells such as Hold Portal, where it indicates a probability of the magic resistance shattering the existing spell.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't thought
So
about that.
it's and if you go to Dragon's Foot, I haven't done it recently. There's whole things on what happens to they walk through a wall of force. Does it destroy the wall of force, or they just walk through it, or wall of fire, or hold, like you said, Hold Portal.
What are illusions? Illusions? You'd be able to see that.
Yeah,
notice it's an illusion.
Yeah, if they would. Yeah, you have to roll that first before anything happens. So that's why Drow are terrible monsters to fight. That's
what's their magic resistance? Are the females
50?
high?
That's not in there.
Yeah,
that's in the Fiend Folio.
Okay.
But I think it's base 50 or something like that.
I would say I know the players wouldn't like it, but I would say there's a 30% chance that the invisible stalker resists the spell.
Wow, that would.
What would you do?
I didn't think about that till today. We would just automatically summon it.
But what would you do now?
I would still let them automatically summon because it doesn't say that the case.
Yeah. It says any spell.
Well, no, I understand the magic resistance, but it doesn't say there's a chance. There's no.
Yeah, but this is on top of saving throw, right? It indicates this is on top of saving throw.
But you would think at that point they would have said, hey, you would have that. There's something about the summoning. Because here's the other thing. There's other spells that summon creatures. Gate, and they summon demons, and they have magic resistance. I don't recall them talking about their magic resistance affects that.
I kind of like it, though, because and I know what I like isn't relevant, but it's sort of like, hey, I'm resisting. You can feel the pull and tug and.
Okay, well, you can certainly do that, and
I won't be popular. I'm not doing it. I won't be popular.
That would definitely nerf the spell.
My evals would be terrible.
You would get terrible evals if you did that. But if you go to Gate, which is a 7th level cleric spell, 9th level magic user spell.
Yeah, because I assume like Asmodeus's magic resistance is probably pretty good.
Now again, the interesting is so under Gate, which we're not talking about, we're talking about Invisible Stalker. There's a 100% chance certainty that something will step through the gate. Now again, you're not targeting something specific, and maybe those deities or devils or whatever want to run through the gate. So I think that's a good discussion for the group, which is magic resistance when it comes to these summoning things. I've never played it that way, but I could see your point. I think it's a great argument. So Invisible Stalker, very helpful. You can, I've seen it where guard me through this adventure when we go through the dungeon, and that's about as long as I've allowed it.
And that's going to be
no resistance.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're like you said, invisibility, surprise 1 to 5. They do 4 to 16 hit points of damage or some crazy amount.
That's very good.
They're 8 hit dice. So they're a controllable air elemental, basically. Except, I don't think do they fly?
Oh, let's see. It'll be on movement, right?
No, they just walk.
Inches. Yeah, 4 to 16 damage. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, and then what's this bottom part say here?
Each day of duty which an invisible stalker serves will see a 1% cumulative chance of the creature seeking to pervert the intent of its commands in order to be free of servitude. If no option remains open, the stalker must continue to serve. Oh, I'm sorry. Invisible stalkers understand the common speech, but they do not talk any language of their own. And here's the instruction. So, a simple command such as follow me and guard me from any attack could be interpreted to mean follow at a 100-foot distance. The invisible stalker has been on duty for over a week, or perhaps even if it hadn't been that long. Similarly, a command to keep me safe from all harm can be construed by the invisible stalker to mean that it is to carry the conjuring party to its own plane. So what was the instruction you just gave?
Keep me safe here in the dungeon.
Oh. So
until we leave.
So really, so what it does is it's now a contest between the player and the DM.
Right.
The DM's trying to pervert the instructions and think of a very entertaining way to.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's ways to mitigate it, and again, sometimes we think of the most we forget about these lowly spells we use them for one purpose and that they have another, like push we talked about, push we think was stupid unless you have a high powered creature that's trying to attack you, you could push them and they could get minuses to hit. Protection from evil is, a first level spell, but it protects either 1 foot if it's the standard protection from evil or 10 feet. It basically, any summoned conjure creatures cannot willfully enter the circle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So as long as you don't break the circle, if you have the protection on, you are safe from them.
So that lower level spell sounds like it becomes particularly useful actually at higher levels because that's when you would be encountering stuff. I mean, at first level,
right?
Presumably an invisible stalker, unless you're going through adventure that I'm running.
Yes.
I didn't write it though.
That's right.
There's an invisible stalker, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Popped out and
so, David mentioned
died,
that. I'm sure. Well, that's good. That's like
right. Well, obviously, only one.
David, it's only one.
Someone
that's pretty
lived.
Good. Someone survived that. Yeah. So, okay. Well, next week the giant goat continues his two winning streak.
We should have a name the goat kind. Send in your suggestions for name the goat. He's like the champ.
If you give him a name, he's going to die. That's. But okay, it could happen. All right, name the goat. I like that.
George after
George the goat.
George Foreman. But no, we'll take suggestions.
Yeah, we'll take suggestions.
This goat is awesome.
Your suggestion is to take suggestions.
He's now eating a dwarf. I love it.
Well, he's finishing the gnome.
Not the gnome.
Noel.
The gnome.
Didn't we?
Whatever hybrid.
Wasn't it half troll, half gnome? I love that. That was. I forgot who said that. That's great. All right. So we've.
Gigi.
That was good.
GG,
that was good. Right. And so now we're ready for our next thing, I think. Nope. We're ready for Word of Recall. Goaty McBoatface, exactly. Just like Bodie McBoatface. So let's talk about magic users. So this, by far, is... I probably need to do. I'll do a poll on Twitter. So more work
for you.
More work for me.
Wait, for what? Naming the goat?
Yeah, naming the goat.
You don't have to take all. You don't have to take all my suggestions.
No, people are putting suggestions.
Okay.
Dan James, that damn James.
James.
Goaty McGoatface. I'll put it on Twitter at GROGTALK. If you want to vote, you can.
And my suggestion.
Goat fave.
I like Gigi.
Goat fave.
I like giant goat. Gigi. Gigi.
Okay, I'll put it. Whatever I see on this list, I'll put on Twitter, and we'll have it for next week.
Okay.
There'll be a poll.
Okay.
All right. So we're talking about magic users. It's what I find interesting. There are players who love playing magic users. That's all they want to play, or there's people who I don't want to play magic users.
Well, what I like about magic users, they're so powerful at first level.
Right.
If you're a power gamer, you want to be a magic user at first level.
Yeah. That is an experience, and you know what? I think it's. I don't say it's a recent experience. Yes. So for those who are listening on the podcast, Dan is showing the. There it is.
1 hit point.
He is showing. Gote the goat. Very nice, minion.
Goatalicious. No, it's dwarfalicious.
It's dwarfalicious. Yeah, goat.
It is not goatalicious yet.
Is it mutton? Can a goat be mutton?
I think a goat isn't a goat mutton.
Oh, I think sheep is mutton.
Oh, sheep is
mutton.
Mutton.
Whatever the meat product of the goat is. Maybe they're mutton as well. Anyway, so for those who are on the podcast, Dan did some role playing where he was rolling up a magic user. He rolled his hit points. They get a D4, and he rolled a 1. So yes, your first level magic user would have had 1 hit point, assuming he didn't have a constitution, which typically is not something that they're known for.
Right. So odds are that's a no.
Stereotypical magic user is frail, has glasses, looks emaciated, short, possibly, or tall.
Right. Wears polo shirts.
So very scholarly.
Yes. Very high intelligence, though.
Yes.
Low con, low dex, low strength,
right.
low charisma, Low wisdom, but high intelligence.
Yeah, the only one weaker in Constitution is the illusionist, because 5 or lower can only be an illusionist.
Goats are the most eaten animal. Not on this podcast, my friend. They're not the most eaten animal. So the tough thing about the magic use, it is rough, right? Because the poor magic user at low level will spend most of the time in combat in the corner, right? Like we had a player, and I think he was smart to do it.
Right.
And he was in the corner, and actually I think Gygax says if the magic user is out there engaging in a lot of combat, they should be dinged on that rating.
Right, on the evaluation.
Right, and so you get, and if you do spells randomly, right? I mean, so we could do this.
Right, let's.
We're ahead of ourselves because you get the spells randomly. You don't get to pick.
Right.
And
if you're playing it by rules as written.
Right, and so it can be very rough.
It can be. So let's start on page 25 of the Player's Handbook. So this one actually has a write-up a little bit, so it's got a whole column. And you're going to notice, first thing, it says having high intelligence is the most important. They have no less than 9, which still, to me, is shocking that 9 is average intelligence, slightly below or potentially below average intelligence.
You know what they say at the Magic User School? Even C's get degrees.
That's right. What do you call the last in class of Wizard School? Magic User.
Exactly. That's what they say.
Exactly. So, Saul. That's
Saul. You think Saul's at 9 intelligence? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, he's high intelligence because he's survived and he's parlayed into a successful business, passing the Pearl.
Well, he had high wisdom, don't you think? So he had 9 intelligence, but don't you think he'd have like a 15 wisdom?
Well, then he's not very wise. He should have become a cleric. Why would he waste his time with that? He'd get bonus spells, but that's another story.
Okay.
Yeah. So Matt, now here's one where if your intelligence is 16 or more, you get 10% bonus, which again is a huge thing over time. If you're going to survive, having that 10% bump is very important.
You only need a dex of 6. I guess the idea of the dex.
Oh, so all right. Well, okay. We'll hold on to that, David. Yes, go ahead.
The idea of the dex is that you need to be nimble to cast the spells. You have to have a dex of 6.
Right. Yes.
Because you got to be nimble enough. It would be nice if there was a dex. If you had a high dex and you were a magic user, that it maybe like reduced time on casting spells or decrease the chance of like there's a spell failure. I don't know. It would have been nice to have incorporated, so the only reason you want a high dex if you're a power gamer is to reduce the AC.
Right.
It's not to actually help you cast spells, but the sense I get is that's what it's supposed to be.
We can infer that dexterity is needed for spell casting because on the illusionist, it's because they even need a minimum of 16 dex. And It says a high manual dex is required in casting of the spells used by this class. So you still need some kind of dexterous ability in order to cast, but a minimum of 6 is again below average, so that's pretty clumsy.
That's what Saul had.
Yeah, he can eat a pearl basically. That's what he can do. So the next paragraph talks about that they have mighty spells. However, magic users are very weak in combat, and they have a 4-sided dice to determine how many hit points. So that right there, you get this. Oh, they're super powerful, and yes, that's right. Illusions have to have a higher dex.
No armor.
They have no. That's right. So
few weapons. There's really not a lot good happening.
Right.
In this
you hear about this. If this was an advertisement for magic users,
yeah, you would not sign up.
Right. It's the big bold letters. Powerful magic. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Next, it's like drugs. You see on the drug commercials.
Yeah. This is the required disclaimer.
Right. Magic users may have low hit points. They may be beaten up in combat. They can't wear armor. That's the thing it says.
That's right.
Magic users will suck up experience and be looked as the bane of the party as they try to cast push or something like that. That's right.
As they show this magic in the background, casting a spell on the beach or whatever. Killing a dragon.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's the whole thing of be a magic user, the most powerful class in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. The magic user, the magic user school.
Conjuring invisible stalkers.
All these
That's right. And then it says magic users will have low hit points.
That's right.
They cannot wear armor. They
25% of all first-level magic users will have 1 hit point.
That's right. That's right. If you have a low constitution, your chance of survival is less. You have a high percentage chance with low intelligence of not getting the spell you want because you'll fail it.
97% of all magic users do not make it past first level.
That's right. Be sure to read all the full disclaimer in the back of the pack. That's right. That's exactly. So that's again. And especially if you have new players and if they've come from later, it didn't bother us. That was just the class. They were weak and you had to shepherd them along. And if, again, depending on how you gave spells out, if they had sleep, then it's like, okay, they're the one-shot deal. They got sleep or magic missile. They did their thing, and then that was it. They threw darts, as David said. Every time I have a magic user, I know, was it you or Bob or someone who said, these darts are not little.
Yeah, they're like lawn darts.
They're like lawn darts. So my guy had 100 darts, and like, no, you can't carry 100 darts. We wouldn't have liked that, because again, you're literally assuming you're going to give them a high dex, so they have some armor, high dexterity for a good armor class. Your best attack is going to be a dart, which again we'll talk about weapons later. So
you know what I think about all this? I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I just think it's fun, So yeah, you gotta, because if you make it through, you're gonna be awesome at some point.
Right. Right. You're the Frodo with your your wimpy at the end. But if the party gets you through, you become you take the ring and. And the other creature, that's not their good example. So they get a spell book. They talk about spell book in the DMG. They'll talk more about what that is. And you learn the next difference is that they must memorize and prepare spells versus clerics and druids, where you're praying to the deity. The mechanical is basically the same in that you have to spend time resting and then you have to memorize spells based on the level of the spell.
But it's obviously worse. So another downside is that unlike the cleric and the druid, who can pray for any spell and will get it as long as they've not been bad, not pious, the magic user is very limited. And spell books. So Gygax, I believe, wrote that he meant to talk about, I think, spell books more in this and forgot, because there's no concept of a traveling spell book before
the book that
UA, right? And which means that I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if it was Gygax or it was just in Sage Advice or something, that the idea was that the magic user would not bring this big spell book into the dungeon. You'd memorize your go in, which is even worse than if that's true, because this idea that you could lose your spell book. I mean, if you're doing saving throws for items, you could lose your spell book. But here's my thing. Does the spell book start out huge? I mean, it just has a lot of blank pages. Why can't I have like a little? So I've got four spells. Can't I have the Lilliput?
Like a loose leaf version, like a trapper
keeper?
Keeper?
Yes, I get the rings and I add a spell.
I don't think that's how it works.
Or at least a Lilliput. Remember the Lilliput things? If I've only got these little books, if I've only got 4 spells.
Yeah, like a little...
But it's big, so it has to be big? Because you get the spell book and you fill it in, is what you're saying?
Well, in the book that shall not be named, it describes that there's the big spell books and the traveling ones, and the big ones that can hold... It does not appear you can take them in and out. I think, and again, I think there may be opportunities. The idea is the book is constructed, and it's a magical tome. It's constructed, and then you can skip pages if you've ruined as you're writing it if it gets failed. But I don't think you're supposed to rip them out. It's
about 100 pages. The journey. Well, yeah, but where is this journey book in these 2 books? That was later, wasn't it? I think it was a Dragon Magazine article.
Could be
by Gygax.
Yeah, I looked up magic users.
We never played with. We didn't care that much about it. Did you ever play with 2 books, traveling spell? No, you had a book and
they carried their book.
Right.
And again, the big thing was if you were captured and you lost your spell book or it was mistaken. Well, now your adventure's changed. Now the magic user has one focus: find a spell book. That's what they focus
Sticky
on.
note spell book. I like that idea. Sticky note spell book.
Well, or trapper keeper for those from the 80s, right? You could just open it and you insert thing. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
But I don't think they worked it that way. The idea is the book is not just a normal book. It's built with it's of a significant quality that will accept the magic scribing.
Okay.
But to your point, you're only able to memorize spells that are in your spell book, even though this list of all these great spells that you may be that you have potential access to, if they're not in your spell book, you cannot memorize them.
Wait, okay, but look at this. Okay, hold on. When a magic user begins his or her profession, the character is usually assumed to possess a strange tome in which he or she ascribed the formula for some of the spells known to the character. This spell book and each book later added. Open paren, as the magic user advances in levels of ability, a book of spells for each higher level of spells which become usable will have been prepared through study and research. Yeah. So that makes it sound like I've got like volumes.
Right, volume 1, like encyclopedia.
So it's not is it a single book or is it not a single?
Well, in the book that shall not be named, and in the book that shall not be named says it has a number of pages, and that the way it is consumed is the higher level spell needs more pages to fill. So the books are the same, but a 9th level spell book can only hold, I don't know, 4 or 6 spells. I don't remember what it says, whereas it can hold 32 first level spells or something to that effect.
Okay.
So that's something you could rule, that maybe there's books, that is certainly a DM prerogative. You could say the first level book, is made of paper and, has things, whereas a 9th level has to be gem encrusted and all this other things. So you can kind of separate.
Yeah. Okay.
But then it's a question of how many spells can be put in that book.
Yeah.
And so the way they've done that is through page count, that the recipe is much longer for higher level spells.
Who cares?
Right.
That's what I say, right?
We always just said it was a spell book.
You're the poor magic user. Just
right. We just said it was a spell book. The big thing was if they got captured,
that's not good.
then they were out of gas.
Yeah, that'd be true.
And I think the concept was a lot of the modules, especially early ones, had this idea of you went into the adventure. You didn't sleep overnight there. You prepared everything. You went to the dungeon. You did your thing, and you left.
Right.
You did not try to rest in the dungeon.
Right. And I think somewhere in there, the DMG or somewhere talks about it. That should be a very dangerous proposition.
Right. It's a desperate measure.
Try to do that. Yeah.
And that you don't rest in the dungeon, but inevitably, that's going to happen, and you have to decide. John in his game rightly makes it painful. He's rolling up random encounters all the time, and so then you're dealing with that. But anyway, that's a big difference between clerics and magic users. So, okay, wow, this sounds amazing. This is terrible. You have limited spells. Well, then they give you a good, 4th paragraph says, you can pretty much use the most powerful magic items in the game, as it says. Most scrolls, wands, staves, and many of the miscellaneous that are only usable by this device, by this class.
And then what they're talking about, right, is if you look in the DMG, it'll list, right, what character classes can use different items.
That's
so I'm assuming if we did look at this, we would see a lot of M's.
Right. And some of the most powerful magic items, the Staff of the Magi, a lot of the robes are magic user as a general class, and then some of them illusionists can do as well. Then it says, once you become wizard, this is one of the areas that's interesting, which is wizard or higher can enchant items, because now enchant an item is a 6th level spell. It's, if I remember correctly, 6th level? I feel like it's 6th level, which means you'd have to be 12th level for that. So it's a little... Oh, yes, enchant an item is a 6th level spell, which means in order to cast a 6th level spell, you must be 12th level.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little weird.
So there's some inconsistency there.
I'm sure there's an explanation, but
what does enchant? So what does that do to enchant an item? What happens?
So you can make, and it says or scribe magic scrolls. Now in the DMG, it says you can be 7th level to enchant scrolls, like we talked about.
Oh, so that's another inconsistency.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, because I'm not familiar with enchant, I've never gotten up that high level. So
no, I don't know what that word is. They're complaining about us not using the name of the book that shall not be named. There's going to be a counter podcast called
The Podcast That Shall Not Be Named. That's we're gonna do it, and we're never gonna mention.
That's right.
The name of the book, and
that's
right.
We'll
go through it, but we'll never mention the name.
That may be it. That's a good episode. The Book That Shall Not Be Named.
And you're gonna want to watch, because I'm going to shake the pages out of my copy.
Right. And that's what we'll do. Whatever pages fall out, that's the ones we'll read.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Right.
I'll hold it up and I'll just start shaking.
Yeah. And then we'll put it back together in random order. So
exactly.
So, but this again is a huge thing. While other classes can make magic items, and that process is described in DMG, by far most of the magic items that we think about are constructed by magic users.
So that's what they're doing.
Level.
So all those magic items in there, I guess I shouldn't say all, but typically it's a magic user using enchant an item.
And then potentially needing permanency, which is an 8th level spell.
Oh, right. To make it. Oh, I gotcha. So enchant. So what does enchant do? I mean, it's so long. Don't make me read it. We didn't roll this spell.
It basically makes a magical item. It makes a. So for instance, if you want to make wand of fireballs, it allows a stick to be crafted and accept the magic and store the magic.
So that's where magic items are coming from. So when I find a sword +1, there's a good chance that someone's done a enchanted item and cast a permanency spell on it.
So yes. So the two schools of thought are, I've heard different versions, that kind of the Lord of the Rings idea of there was a better time many years ago. The magic was more prevalent and more powerful, and everything was great. And then each age is a lesser copy of that. And so, for instance, you go into the dungeon. Well, who made the dungeon? Some ancient civilization or ancient group who were much more powerful. And these are, a rough copy of that. So most of these things were built in the past, and that if you look at how to create a magic item, it's very complicated, and
look how long it is.
Very powerful and very difficult. And so who has time to do that? So it must have been easier in the past. That's one art. The other one is no. It's just super high powerful magic users. But then why would they do that? Why would they be making swords +1s
and leaving them in dungeons?
In 16th level, magic users.
I'll leave this here.
For all the things that they could make money on, building a sword +1 doesn't seem like the best use of a 16th level magic user's time.
Yeah.
Assuming you need to put permanency so that...
So like the magic user who's really high level, who's making the +1 sword, is like barely getting by. And Saul,
right,
who's just basically passing the
he's pressing the pro. Identifying makes sense. You can be any level to do that. But
right.
And this is always, if you have magic users who become high enough level to make items, that's what they want to do during their downtime. They don't want to do anything else. They just want to sit there, and they want to hire magic users to just pump out potions and scrolls and all this thing. And you always have to be balancing that.
So if I'm like the big fighter, I'm the Lord. I hire a magic user.
Right.
I'm like, this is what I want.
I want to make sword. I want to make a sword.
An awesome sword.
I want to make swords. I want potions of healing. I want potions of heroism. I want you.
I got a goat to kill.
Exactly. I got a goat. I'm 9th level. I don't want to take any chances.
That's right. I've heard about this goat. This goat is turning into like the rabbit from Monty Python.
That's right. It's just a wee little rabbit. Exactly.
So we should have a percentage chance because Jayquays has that rabbit. You guys faced it.
I feel like we did.
You did face it. So it'd be fun if we could randomly roll that. I think that rabbit should be able to have a chance at one of these days at that combat. Does this look like a magic? This looks like...
It doesn't look like a magic.
No.
So what we're showing on the page, Enchanted Item, what page is that on?
That is on page 83 of the player's handbook. That doesn't look like a magic.
That looks like an enchant
hammer or a wrench.
Well, it's enchant a blacksmith. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not look like a magic user.
It looks like he works in an auto body shop.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll put it by the camera. See if you zoom in. Yeah. That's good. Yep, that's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. He doesn't have a pointy hat.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't look like anything. He looks like a smith. He looks
like a 70s rocker.
Right.
He looks like he should be in like the band Journey or something like that.
Maybe.
Or REO Speedwagon.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I just see that.
Take it on the run. Did I take it on the run? REO Speedwagon? Okay. We completely digress. So, but this, I think, is interesting in that if it gives you a lot of opportunities as the dungeon master to really engage with your players. But then there's the flip side of it. If they're being power gamers, they're going to want to just produce lots of... Again, what is the motivation for adventuring if you can produce these super magic items? So that's always that push and pull.
Mm-hmm. That's a long way away. Wow, 11th level.
11th, 12th, 7th, something like that. Yeah, depending on what it is. And then for permanency, for certain items, they must have permanency on them, or they will not. The Dwemer won't last. You have to last permanency, and there's a chance that you could lose a point of Constitution when you do that. So you think super strong, powerful. And magic users, they're pretty weak and flimsy, and then they could lose Constitution.
When you get fireballs, what everyone likes, right? When you get fireballs.
Well, 5th level, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So, all right, so that's magic items. And then later, it's possible magic users 12th level or higher can construct a stronghold and clear the countryside, thus ruling the area as a noble. If this is accomplished, a revenue of 5 silver pieces per inhabitant per month is generated in the territory ruled. Which is also cool. Which, that idea of you probably should retire. You retire and make magic items is the idea. Right. So you look at I think it's the only, if you look at the chart, it's the experience chart, it's one of the longest. It goes up to 18. The rest of them don't go even nearly that high. Most of them go up to 11, 12, Druids 14.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 18th level. Wow. And you need a lot of XP, right? So it's 2,500 for first level. Does that usually always... remain basically the same? You can look at first level and get a sense of how it goes for the duration.
You would have thought so, but unfortunately it doubles.
Of course not.
It doubles, and then some parts it does less than double. Other parts it does. Eventually it tailors off that each of them has a maximum per level above it. And by far the magic user is the worst at 375,000 experience points per level once it gets past 18.
I am so used to low level. I can't even imagine saying, like, to me, like, how many XP you got? I got 5,000. Whoa.
Wow, that's a lot.
How many XP you have? I have 1.3 million.
Right.
Wow.
And I'm sure we've got folks on the chat, and we've got a lot of experienced DMs. What was the highest campaign that you all ran with characters? What level character did they get? I don't think I've ever had a game go past 10th or 11th level.
Yeah, I think my illusionist Shindong Nimblefingers, who I'm sure everyone's familiar with.
No one knows who that is.
Right. I think reached 11th level maybe.
Right. So even 11th level, that's 440,000 experience
Yeah, that's
points.
a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot of experience points. So I'm sure people who've played for decades or had the whole Monty Hall thing or a combination of that would reach that. But you're talking staggering sums of money and loot.
Do you know how many
treasure.
Do you know how many hit points Shindong started with?
1?
You got it, buddy.
Wow. There you go.
You got it.
So we talked about the class, the benefits, limitations. So let's talk about the different levels in game. So early. Well, let's follow up with 25th.
Like who can be, right? So, right.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's
who
right.
can be?
That's right. Who can be?
Just anybody be? James, can just anybody be a
Well,
magic?
of course
James,
not.
I'm a halfling. I want to be a halfling. I'm a new player. I've never played first edition.
No.
I hear D&D is fun.
Oh, let's play. Let's first player. You're the new player.
Right. I'm 22. I've heard of this game, the D&D. I want to play.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, yeah. So I've done some research and I've decided what I want to be.
Oh, wonderful. What would you like to be?
I would like to be a halfling magic user. My name.
No.
Why no?
No, because it's first edition. We don't like that. Go away.
I can't be a halfling. Okay.
No. What else?
All right. I would like to be. I've heard of the half orc. I'd like to be a half orc.
No.
I cannot be.
No.
A half orc. A dwarf.
Isn't this game fun? No.
I want to be a gnome.
No.
Magic.
You can be illusionist. If you want to be an underpowered magic user who can't do anything, because I'm going to make your illusion spells not work the way you'd like.
I guess, can I? Elf?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
But you can be limited. Any of the really cool spells.
I can't wait to be an 18th level.
No, that can't happen.
No?
No.
But I thought elves were the coolest, the best. Oh.
No, we've hamstrung.
I will now roll hit points. Where's the 30?
You already rolled 1. You're trying to cheat?
What? Oh, no. I rolled, that was the wrong die. I want this die 30.
No, you don't get a die 30. You get 1 point.
I'm ready to pick my spells. Can I pick my spells?
Well, David says you can pick your spells. We used to make them, we forced them to roll it. But
I would like to buy plate mail.
No, you can't wear armor.
Leather armor?
Nope. You can't. Your robes, get silk robes so that they're for the arrows, so it's easier to take. They deflect. It's easier to take the arrows out when you get shot by the goblin, who's a more powerful fighter. This little, 3.5 foot tall goblin's going to fight better than you.
Yes. All right. Yes, I'm going. I don't like this edition. This edition is bad. Okay. So magic user. So dwarf, no. Elf, okay, not bad, 11th, but it's intelligence of less than 17 is limited to 9th, 17 is 10th, so that's not bad. Gnome is half elf is pretty low, 8.
Yeah, and you still need decent intelligence.
Intelligence less than 7, right, so less than a 17, limited to 6, 17 limited to 7. So that's pretty low. That'd be kind of a bummer, because you're hoping to maybe go past 8th. No for halfling, no for half orc, and of course, how many, people do,
So the Elrond is not going to happen if you ascribe Elrond as a super powerful wizard.
Right.
If you ascribe that Gandalf was only 6th level magic user, then yes, you could do an Elrond.
I think most people who are going to play an elf or a half elf magic user are going to be multi-class.
Yes.
Right. If you're single class, you're going to be
unless you use the book that shall not be named.
Why does that keep coming up?
Well, because we have a lot of people who are aficionados of it. If you play a single class demi-human, you can go 2 levels higher than the racial limit. We support all gen. I'm sorry?
I stopped listening.
Okay. That's that. Just now? Thank you.
No, half an hour ago. All right.
More accurate.
You can be a cleric, fighter, magic. That's a lot of classes.
Right.
You got a lot of class.
Yeah.
So who can be that?
Half elf.
That's it, right? So why can't elves? Because of cleric.
Cleric. That's right. And they're great utility if you're...
I could be a half-elf cleric, just straight up half-elf cleric?
Why not?
I didn't know. I forget these things. So few can be clerics. So that's interesting. So, yeah. So half-elves can be... Okay, so I a half-elf cleric, just straight up half-elf.
You can be a half-orc cleric.
Oh, yeah, of course, because you mean cleric ranger.
Right.
Oh, I knew about that one, the half-orc. That's awesome. I would want to be just a straight-up half-orc cleric.
Yeah, that's what the... Well, he was a cleric assassin.
4th level.
Citadel by the Sea.
Yeah, I just want to be straight up.
Yeah, I think you'd just be straight up.
Shh. I'm running that.
Oh.
At the ground.
I didn't say who.
Okay. So I can be a cleric magic user, obviously half-elves. I can be a fighter magic user. That gets to be, of course, elves and half-elves.
Yep.
That's sort of the class. People that you get a lot of that.
Magic user thief. Yep. Fighter magic user thief.
Yeah, fighter magic user thief, and that's the elves and the half-elves. And then the magic user thieves, that's the elves and the half-elves. And then, of course, the magic user assassin. That would you don't, but that would be pretty cool.
Same thing like the illusion assassin. I would almost allow that.
Wait, but you can be the illusionist assassin. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say the cleric assassin, which you can be, of course, which we both agree is the greatest.
Right, cleric assassin is by far. I mean, for fun and excitement.
Yes.
If he could
for him, not for the other part.
Right. If a gnome illusion assassin, I totally allow, even though it's not allowed in there. And or magic user assassin would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense in some ways, because you can cast magic and then murder people.
It would be kind of cool to have like an assassin. Everyone's an assassin of some kind.
Right.
So then you don't have to worry about
assassons in hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in heaven. Assassins in heaven.
That's better.
Yeah.
Assassins in heaven.
I'm
going to kill Zeus.
That's right.
That should be next year's. Killing Zeus.
Is he in Olympus is chaotic good? Who's in whatever it's called, the Seven Heavens? I don't know.
We should have like an assassination on a god.
I'm sure that'll go well.
Next tournament adventure.
That's Q1 basically. Q1 Redux.
People wouldn't like that in Odenville.
Huh? They wouldn't like that in Odenville. Yeah. Don't go to Bobby's. It's Odenville.
It's Odenville.
It is
Odin.
That's right.
How do you spell Odin?
It's with an I.
Oh, but it's still pretty cool though. Odenville.
Yeah, Odenville. That would be.
Yeah. Okay.
Assassin. Maybe that would. The assassins think they're going to where Odin is, but they actually go to Odenville, Alabama. It's like the Expendables. They go to a place they didn't think they get. We've been tricked.
The larvae or whatever.
That's right. And there they face the admiral in his wrath, his dominating,
exactly,
bloodletting. That's good.
Right.
I like that.
He rules an iron fist. All right. So
that's magic use. So that's they have multi-class, and if you have a situation where you want to play a magic user but you want some other abilities because you can't do much, multi-class makes a lot of sense.
So how do I? Okay, so it sounds we have controversy.
Controversy is a strong word.
No, it's good for the show.
Oh, it's controversy.
We have controversy. You even need like a controversy bumper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Spell select and listen. I would be really reluctant to disagree with Thane Thompson, right? He's pretty knowledgeable on this stuff. I always thought you had to roll.
He's not Thane Thompson. That was his previous thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's a Chamberlain Most August.
My apologies, sir. Do not behead me.
No, I'm not. He's a shrewd counselor, I think it is, of Australia. Anyway, he has stated. So what we're talking about is in page 38 and 39 of the Dungeon Master Guide's character spells. Day-to-day acquisition of cleric and then acquisition of magic user spells.
Right.
So there's a long thing here, and it says that. So what he is reading is at the bottom of 39.
Yeah.
The paragraph, the sentence says, "Choice should be left to the player."
Wait, that's choice. I think that means the zero. Choose,
right.
choose.
Is
that the controversy?
That's how I read it. I think he's saying they can choose. My take on that is, why would they give out these random things so that you can do it?
See, because the way I thought that was Gygax, I interpreted that as Gygax clarifying that it's not the DM choosing.
That's right.
It's the player choosing.
That's correct. Yeah, so if I read this, the paragraph above where it has random things, it says they automatically get read magic.
Right.
And it's in big capital letters. And then select by random means one spell each from the offensive, defensive, miscellaneous characters listed below. Then it says the guy's name, Rendulent, or any other player character magic will then have a total of 4, count them, 4 spells. So you roll that. If you roll a 10, then choice should be left up to the character. That's to the player. and that the only exception is, well, Nistel's magic ore and tensor must be located by the character. It can never be known at the start. Now, if there's always the qualifier. If your campaign is particularly difficult, you may wish to allow choice automatically. You may furthermore allow an extra defensive and miscellaneous spell so the character begins with 5 spells. So, again, like all the rules, there is how Gary says it should be, and then he says, well, you should do whatever you want. Or you can have some exceptions.
Can I roll my spells now?
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Now I get read magic.
So we're going to do rules as written. Yes, you get read magic.
Right. Which we've talked about this before. The way we play it is you do have to memorize that like any other
That's
spell.
right. Yeah, you don't get a freebie.
You don't get a freebie. You get it as a spell.
Free spell, but you have it's not a cantrip that you can just roll anytime. So this is your offensive spell?
Or friends.
Friends. I love how friends is offensive. Some would argue being my friend is offensive. So.
That's right.
That's right.
So friends, so that was like creatures are my friend now. Is that what I do? I cast it on them and they like me. 8. Spider climb. That's not bad.
Spider climb. Oh, David had stepped away. Well, of course, David, you can step away. It's what, midnight there in Australia. So we were looking at your choice, page 39, and the way we've read it is that we read the sentence choice should be left to the player, but we think that means under number 10, which it says choose. So in other words, the DM doesn't choose that as it's written for that paragraph above in the list, that you randomly select the 3 spells, offense, defense, miscellaneous. If you roll a 10, you allow the player to choose. And then with all that said, Gary Gygax says, hey, if your campaign's difficult, you can allow them to choose. You can give them an extra spell. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. We're just rolling randomly. So you got Spider Climb.
These are going to be the spells. So because I love running low adventures. Right. So for Citadel by the Sea, these will be the spells for the magic user.
Okay.
So don't complain when you see the spells like these are terrible. Well, they were rolled
Friends,
randomly.
Spider Climb, and Detect Magic.
Okay.
Wow. Isn't there a cliff by Citadel by the Sea?
Yes. There you go. The Spider Climb come in handy.
So
I need to mark these.
Do you want a piece of paper?
No, I'll just.
Can I play the magic user, or is it still sold out?
No, it's not. No, I was waiting for you to sign up.
Because I'm going to play the magic user, and then I'm going to jump off the cliff because I don't have any spells that.
Friends.
And then I'm going to go walk away.
And I'm also going to give you I'm giving you 2 scrolls. You know what's going to be on those?
Push and mending.
You got it, buddy.
See?
Friends, Spider Climb, and
Detect Magic.
Detect Magic.
And Read Magic.
Of course.
So here's another thing. I've seen DMs, and I've done it this way. Because, by the way, that's not all. Just because
There's more?
Right. There's the thing of, based on your intelligence, you may not be able to learn the spell.
Okay, let's talk. So I did some research on that.
Good.
Now, I don't know. I don't think I had a lot of answers. But so we know they automatically get Read Magic.
Yes. Because if you can't read magic, you can't be a magic user, basically.
Exactly. In addition, they receive the random offensive defense. We got that. The magic, this is from Polyhedron.
That's right.
Number 1, the magic user does not roll for chance to learn spells until he or she comes across a new spell. And that actually was also stated by Gygax and the Dragon's Foot Q&A.
Okay.
So, all right, so you don't roll. So it sounds like these I would get.
Right.
If a magic user blows his or her chance to know a particular spell, the only way to acquire it is to find a scroll with the spell, and if she knows the right spell, she can study it and cast it without understanding it fully, or wait until the intelligence changes due to aging when you recheck. That's Polyhedron.
Yes.
Note that it's generally unwise for a magic user to bring his or her spell book out, look into a dungeon. Sage advice. Dragon number 43.
Okay.
That's all I got. Sorry.
That's good. So I've seen some DMs rule, and some people want this. Like you got Friends. What we're talking about is...
I want to blow that roll.
Exactly. In the player's handbook, unlike if you have a low wisdom, there's a chance for spell failure. If you, per spell, when you try to cast it, here for magic users, if your intelligence is low, your chance of actually learning a spell and the number of spells you can ultimately learn is restricted. So again, if you're that poor sot who has a 9 intelligence, you only have a 35% chance of learning a spell.
Yeah.
And the maximum level of spells, number of spells you can have per level is 6. The minimum is 4.
The good news is you do have a minimum.
Right.
So it's not like you have.
Well, read magic is 1.
Right. That's right. That's true. That would be correct, right? And that's right. And then you're 3.
That's right. So you would know those, and that would be it.
If I blow all the other rolls, it's over.
Right. Well, if you did it automatically, those would be the 4 spells you have, and that's all you'd have for first level.
Right.
You'd never learn any more.
Right. That would be it. That's per what page are you on?
That's on page 10 of the player's
That's
handbook.
per level? Oh, I'm in the DMG.
Per level.
No wonder this was looking weird.
Page 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So what we were talking about is, let's say you roll for spells. I've always pretty much for the most part said, yes, you automatically get those spells, but you may not want to get those spells. So some DMs have said, no, you can roll for it, meaning roll the chance to learn it. Now that could work in your favor or not work in your favor. Let's say you roll Sleep or Magic Missile, which I would argue is probably the 2 most offensive, most powerful spells. And then you blow this thing, then you could never learn that, which is tragic.
Right.
So that's something that the DM hopefully can think about and has figured out.
And this makes it sound, I think this is where it gets confusing, is it says at the bottom of page 10, only first level spells are checked, and then you check them later. So that makes it sound like, and I know some people do this, I think Edward does this, is that you roll, and I understand it's based upon what's stated here, you roll all first level to see right then and there which ones you'd be able to learn and which ones you couldn't.
And that's another way to do it, which is each and every magic user must employ the table in order to determine which and how many level. The problem with this is...
and then you do that's right, you do the... So you pick... So I really want to know this one, so I'm going to roll for this first because I don't want to max out.
Right. Well, then there's the issue of there are spells, even in modules, there are spells that people have created, which are not in this book. So how do you, if you do this initially, there would be spells that you would never know potentially. How would you know of all the spells that are out there? Because you can create your own spells. Yeah,
I guess you'd have to. So I guess you could play it that if you still had room left.
Right.
Well, if you'd hit the minimum, but if you hadn't hit the maximum yet,
so we're talking.
You can still roll for a new one when you come across it.
I guess, yeah, because it says here on page 10, each and every magic user on the player's handbook must employ the table in order to determine which and how many of each group of spells he or she can learn. At first, only the first level group of spells are checked. Now the challenge is the game evolved and new spells were added. Eventually, they became in the book of that shall not be named. But there's also in the DMG, one of the other powerful things that your DM can allow is for the player to create their own spells. They can make their own spells. So I understand what the idea of this is. I tend not to do that. I just say, hey, you can pick which spell. And I'll say it this way, if the player decides, hey, I want to learn this spell, then they roll it, and they have to keep track of. So when I'm a magic user, I have to keep track of the spells I can learn, the spells I can't learn.
Right.
And there's a good chance you're not going to learn it. I mean, even with an 18 intelligence, you still have an 85% chance. You have an 85% chance of learning the spell.
Yeah, no, that would be very unfortunate. I guess the only benefit over, and it's not much of a benefit, is clerics have a spell failure chance, but that's really only if you have a fairly low wisdom, right?
And that's if you have a 9 wisdom.
Yeah, that's not. So how do I get new spells? So because obviously when I go up at a level, or I don't go up. I mean, when I go up a level, I don't automatically get a new spell, right? I mean, magic users have to find their spells, right? Either via scrolls or from other books. So how do I, and I've never really wrapped my brain around this. So how do I, so I find a scroll.
Yep.
And would I recognize that it's a magic user scroll just based upon, even if I don't know what kind of spell it is?
Well, we talked a little, when we did the scroll thing, we talked about that. Per our understanding, if you open the scroll and you have not cast Read Magic, and it's a magic user spell, you don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is, and the problem is the minute you open it, it starts to fade.
That's right, 30% chance. Roll. You have to read it. Well, you have to. If you open it, you have to read it. If you're gonna go by that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a clerical scroll, clerics don't have Read Magic. They would be able to read it. So typically, the party hands the scrolls first to the cleric.
Right.
see if they can read it. Then they hand it to the druid, see if they can read it. Then they hand it to the illusionist, which again they don't have it. They all look at it first if they have it.
Then the illusionist doesn't read magic.
That's right.
So
because they have a script that supposedly is common.
It's not my writing or whatever. Right.
So they go through a process of elimination. That's how they figure out it's a magic user.
And then the magic user needs to cast
read magic.
Read magic.
They leave the adventure.
Oh, so the problem though is that if you find a scroll in a tube and you're going to do that,
right,
and you don't have read magic memorized, this doesn't sound right. Don't open that thing up. It's going to fade. You better be ready to go.
If you use the troll rules that Gary Gygax provides in the Dungeon Master's Guide, there's once you open it, if you don't read it, or actually once you found it, it doesn't even talk about opening it. Once you found it.
Oh, really? Is that true?
I'm pretty sure it was once you found it. But someone has to go back to our scroll thing.
I thought it was like hermetically sealed. I mean, I don't know.
Scrolls not read to determine contents immediately are from 5 to 30% likely to fade.
I would have thought, though, that's in the, I don't know. I would think that means you pull it out of the tube. I would have thought. It's kind of like hermetically sealed.
They're generally found in cylinders, but that may not be the case. You may require players to read certain magic things. So, DMG 120 saying, for magic user spells, the magic user must cast read magic on the scroll to determine what kind of spell it is. Yep.
But once it is read to determine its contents, read magic is not needed later. Okay, yeah, we got that, right? And the clerics and druids never need it. Also, illusion scrolls are written as you time, right. So then once I've read it, now how do I get it into my book? So now I've got a scroll, but if I cast the thing, it disappears from the scroll, right, and is gone.
Oh wow! So Minion, thank you very much. You're getting a 1E in Japanese. That's awesome. Take a picture of that. Put it on Twitter or something. I'd love to see that. That's awesome. Thank you for that. I don't know, Bob, if anyone else is having buffering issues. If you are, just let me know. We can do something. Hopefully, by the way, supposedly our lovely power company is working on the power here, so hopefully it's not. Thank you, Minion. I know. I think he's across the pond. Minion. I think he's over there in the UK. So
okay.
Appreciate him doing that. A little buffering. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry if that's happening. So this is, all these restrictions when you're dealing with magic users, there's got to be a reason. Well, the reason is their spells, if they survive, if they get higher level, they have spells that will break the game. They are game changing. Even first level, sleep. A fighter can literally take out maybe one orc a round.
Well, so how do you get? So I want to go back to scroll for a second. How do you get the spell from the scroll into your book?
Oh, okay. So if it is a scroll that you are high enough level to cast, so you're a first level magic user, you can cast first level spells. Which again, this is another thing in D&D that takes new players a chance. We've just learned it over time. And it talks about it in the DMG and in I think it actually talks about it in D&D Basic. The level being used multiple ways. There's the level of the player character. There's the level of the spell. There's the level of the dungeon. The level of the monster, and they don't necessarily mean the same thing. And in the player's handbook, there's a chart that tells you how many spells you can cast. So, first level magic user can cast a whole one first level spell. You are in the dungeon. You have your 4 memorized. You have your 4 spells in your spell book. You've picked one. You've memorized it. Let's say in this case you have sleep. You cast sleep. You defeat the kobolds, and they have a scroll of push on there. Now you have 2 choices. You have the choice of you could cast read magic, figure out that it's push. You could then cast it off the spell, off the scroll, which would consume the scroll, and you use the push spell. Or you could decide, hey, I want to add this to my spell book. Now, if you are able to comprehend it, you then tell the dungeon master, I'd like to learn this spell. You would then have to figure out if you can. If you can, you could write it in there. It just consumes the scroll, and you can put it in there. If you can't, then you have to use write spell, which is a second level spell, which you won't have at that point. You basically have to store it and wait till you get higher enough level. Then you can write it in the book, and then you hopefully will.
So
learn it later.
the write spell is the way to get it in there.
Write spell allows you to, or it's a spell that you may not. So, for instance, if you find a scroll of fireball, you can either cast it, and there's a chance it could fail. Right. We talked about that if you're not high enough level. Or you could use the right spell and put it in your spell books for later use.
Got it. And I wrote, and unfortunately I didn't have a site for this. I don't know if it's a DMG 127. I don't know. The chance to know spell is based on the magic user's level who wrote it. If it was written by a magic user higher than necessary to write the scroll, I mean, that's not a big deal. I see
Yeah,
most people don't do that.
Well, we've talked about that. I mean, the spell failure I've always done has been based on the level necessary to cast it, not on the level of the caster.
Yeah.
But the level of the caster does impact the. So, for instance, Fireball we talked about. It says typically there's 6 hit dice. Well, you have to be 7th. If you read the DMG, you have to be 7th. We talked all about this in the scroll session, in the scroll episode. But why would a 14th level magic user create a scroll with a fireball that does 6 hit dice?
Yeah.
Or why would they cast, Ice Storm at 9th level? They would cast it at their level. It does. There must be a reason.
Less effort.
Yeah, maybe
Easier to write. They don't have enough time. Maybe it takes longer.
Right. Well, but I've always run it that the magic user, if they're 11th level, you find a scroll, but that's typically, they don't tell you in the book what level it was cast at.
Now I can, so scrolls are not the only way. I can copy them from somebody else's book. So if you have multiple, and I think Guy X Summer says this is smart. It's not cheating. This is smart.
That's smart.
So you should trade if you have 2 magic users.
Right.
But again, you would need the rights. Can you cast from somebody else's book?
You can memorize from someone else's book if you read magic.
So you cast a read magic on somebody else's book, and then you can memorize.
You could memorize that in theory. It's the same thing like when you steal when you kill the other magic user, you take their book. You would.
The problem is at first level though, then I get 1 spell and it's read magic.
Right.
So now I've memorized a spell I can't use.
No, though that was the conundrum, right? If you had the situation where you lost your book and you didn't have a book, how would you learn read magic? Because you don't have a book to learn it from. Remember we talked, that was one of those weird circles, and we just said, well, read magic's one that you'd have to go back to your master and they'd have to teach you that or some craziness.
But so let's say it's the morning.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want to learn a spell in your book use for today.
Well, once you've read magic on something, you don't have to read magic again.
So you can, before the adventure, you can cast read magic on each one of the spells in the other guy's book, and you would say you could memorize. Okay.
And you can always copy it, but it takes a number of days. You have to use a certain ink.
And it's the right spell, isn't it?
Right spell is technically, the way I use right spell is you could run it faster. But if it's a first level spell and you're copying, you can copy it to another book without using the right spell. You just have to make sure it's special ink, and it talks about some of that.
Okay.
It can't just be normal ink, and it takes time.
Isn't it squid ink?
Yeah. Well, if it's a certain type of thing like that. Okay. So.
All right. So that's how you get spells.
Right. Huh?
So that's how you. So yeah. So you're.
We normally didn't go that crazy with it. We basically, the only rule that we did focus on was that magic user NPCs wouldn't just, especially if they were henchmen, they wouldn't just give you all their spells. You had to trade them. It wouldn't be It wouldn't even be a fair trade. They would be like, oh, you want my magic missile? I want a potion of healing and a scroll for that. Even though I'm giving them push, I'm giving you push. Isn't that good enough? No, I want more than that.
Right. Well, what I would do is I would roll in the reaction table because it's for a chance of instant attack.
Right. They're your henchmen. They're following you.
That should be a new segment.
What, instant attack?
Or reaction table. Well, I don't know what happens. So I don't know what happens. We just parlay.
That's right. Well, yeah, we just.
It should be our demeanor for the show.
I pretty much know your demeanor.
It's an instant attack.
Yeah, it's pretty much it's a 55% uncertain negative reaction.
Exactly.
All right.
That's pretty much my baseline.
But again, the idea of,
you had a higher charisma.
For when you're in that first level dungeon, having a magic user that you find a book is tremendous, or a scroll. That's how
they're always looking for it. Yeah.
Now, your other favorite topic I'm surprised you haven't mentioned. What's your other favorite thing about magic users that they require?
Oh. Spell components.
That's right, spell components.
I love the spell components.
That's right.
And there's an article we talked about in Dragon Magazine.
Yes.
Has that been my suggestion before? Because that would be my suggestion.
Well, you already did Dragon magazines.
No. It'll be the spell component article.
Oh, okay.
Don't you know what do you mean?
Okay, that's fine.
That's awesome.
I gave you another thing about the humanoids. You're like, nah, I already did Dragon. But if you want to do that one,
no.
This is a collaborative show. It's not I'm not the benevolent dictator. You decide. It's your suggestion.
Yeah, that's true.
Spell components.
Spell components. Yeah, so I like spell components.
Right.
The vast majority of people don't use them. They think they're a pain in the butt. Well,
nice.
I like them because I think it adds some flavor to the game. I think some of the spell components are entertaining.
Right.
Now, the good news is, and I know this, I've read this somewhere, is that you don't add any time. I always wondered if it would require time to pull out spell components, but I found somewhere support that no, it doesn't. So even if it's a one-segment spell, as long as they are within the little folds in your
the idea is you've got them. You know, part of why they need to be somewhat dexterous, and again, inferring from the illusionist is that you've set up like little pouches and things where you've practiced, like you're standing in front of the mirror and you're throwing your sand and
flies in the air,
sand and rose petals, and crickets are being eaten or whatever.
Yeah. So hang on, I've got a section here. Does this surprise you on spell components?
Right. So for those, just like we talked about with clerics, every spell class, the vast majority of spells require spell components. Which, as soon as the DM says we're using spell components, everyone rolls a reaction roll. You get a reaction roll. Some are like, "Yay, this is super fun. It's very colorful." Most people go, "Oh,
seriously?
Seriously."
Are you also using the adjustment to hit armor class?
Yes, I'm using everything.
And I guess encumbrance is next.
Why? What, are we playing first edition or not? Exactly. So spell components. There are 3 spell components. We talked about there's verbal, semantic, which is some kind of gesture, and material. And these can run from the benign and trivial to very expensive and hard to find.
That's right. And it's Dragon Magazine number 81, in which you can find that article.
Which is in the time frame of acceptable Dragon magazines.
Exactly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even mentioned it. Spell components, who cares? But spell components do not count toward encumbrance. Unless large and bulky. Material components, though, here's from the player's handbook. I always like stuff from the player's handbook because I always wonder if it gets changed. Material components for spells are assumed to be kept in little pockets, stored in the folds and small pockets of the spellcaster's garb. Of course, some materials are too bulky, and in these cases, the materials must be accounted for carefully. Also, some materials are rare, and these must be found and acquired by the spell user.
Right.
Material spell components are destroyed by the spell unless otherwise indicated. Scroll spells, however, require no material spell components or somatic components. Rangers and paladins need material spell components for their spells unless otherwise noted. That's polyhedron. That's all I have.
And we had a question from one of our other dear patrons, Ron. And again, my mouse is freaking out here because I was going to give him his official title. He asked about, do Rangers, because we talked about Rangers last week, do they need spell books? And I would say yes, they would need spell books for their magic user spells. And Polyhedron says they would need spell components, that they would not do that.
Yep.
So that would be my answer to that. Okay, so spell components. So what that means is there's a Dragon Magazine article which lists the value of spell components, right, and the cost of them. So you eventually, what happens is your character now it becomes the Pokemon / taxidermist / gatherer. That as soon as a creature dies, they look in their book to figure out what things are there, and they descend upon them and start cutting up the bodies.
And that's what John did that, I believe. I think it was a vampire dust or something like that. He knew that it was. He had a lot of money for that, I think. And
that's something you could add to your adventure. That there are these apothecary shops or these shops where you'd be able. Maybe you need ground unicorn powder, but you've got this vampire dust, and you start trading it. So if that's the kind of adventure you want to have, where you and the magic user spend an hour and a half trading spell components, great. D&D allows that, right? Beholders. You could find all kinds of things like that. If you look through, just doing a quick cursory review of spell components for magic users.
Oh yeah, see, we don't even talk about that when we do spell. Like Invisible Stalker. Let's do, what's that?
Yeah, Invisible Stalker.
We've been bad. We haven't even talked about spell components.
Right.
I actually looked at it because I didn't find them very entertaining. Some are really funny, right? I think, they really relate
Is
to
a burning incense and a piece of horn carved into a crescent shape. That is the material component.
So when someone walks in and asks for that, the person is like, whoa.
Wow, they know.
Man.
Right.
A little bit of Invisible Stalker.
Oh, that's right.
What are you planning there?
Exactly.
Sir?
Or I found something for Glades to do.
Yes.
Under Project Image, the material component is a spell of a small replica of the magic user. As a limner, she could paint a figurine.
Wow, that's hard. So you actually have to do that. You have to get that commissioned.
Right.
Because you're not just gonna show up and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
you got some
Glade the
little
Ranger,
thing of me, a little
which
miniature
we
of
need
me.
to do. I think what we're going to, by the end of the year, we've talked about this. Vic may be hosting this. We need to do a streaming online game 1 year anniversary, and Glade could be the making replicas for people. That would be amazing.
A little shop.
The little shop of horrors.
So that's interesting. Yeah, you got a little.
So you'd have to, so you would see there are some of these materials are very exotic, and especially if you want to build a scroll. If you look at the items that a scroll, like they talked about, they give an example, scroll of petrification, and you need, the extract of a gland from a basilisk or something like that. So you're gonna be descending on things, and so now you have this idea. You're basically a taxidermy collector. You're a field collector. You got these little boxes, and you're fielding all this stuff. If you think that's the kind of game you want, that would be awesome.
Well, and spell components, then, if you incorporate them, you might have to make saves. I mean, if you swim across, a river or something.
Wow,
like that,
you are. That's
right.
No, they would have sealed containers. You'd have to assume.
Yeah,
They would take beeswax. They'd take that.
Those little Ziploc bags.
Well, no, they would take wax and they'd seal the bottles and the things of that. I assume these are genius people.
Wait, no. Because then you're not getting them out that fast. Wait a second.
No, I'm saying for storage. If they're actually using, you're right.
You're on an adventure.
Right.
They're in the folds.
Right, and that would be a complete troll job. They're swimming, and their dust that they or for color spray gets mixed together, and now it's a mud ball.
It's basically black because all the colors of the little black thing. Yeah, little black thing. Yeah, you take it out, and you're like, stick it on your hands.
Color ball. It's not color spray. It's color mud. Yeah,
that's good.
Well, and druids, if their spell components are not the most pure,
you have the best mistletoe.
That's right.
You have all different kinds. You have to harvest it.
And same thing. We talked about that. No one does that. Well,
but see, that would be fun. Like I think.
Oh yeah, it's fun making.
You're giving me ideas now. If I'm going to put a druid in one of these adventures, I'm going to give them like the cheapest mistletoe. Just because you're low level.
So you give them the yes. So first level, this magic is going to have that. The druid's going to have some bum. Generic, cheap mistletoe. Not even mistletoe. What is it? Oak leaves? Isn't oak leaves worse than that?
No, seriously, we have to run an adventure one of these times. And it's like the misfit.
Yeah.
They're like terrible. They're like the fourth level half-orc cleric.
Yeah, they're the expendables, whatever.
You don't want to do that where like everyone's maxed out. They're like,
Yeah, they get oak leaves. That's what they have. 50% range, spell duration, area of effect. That's what you give them. They're like old dried up oak leaves. They only get 30%. Yeah. I can see why people.
That would be fun.
Come to Grog Con. Yeah. And
it's surprising more people haven't signed up.
Vic has said that he's going to murder everyone. He's in fact he's not even bringing the dice, the red dice. Don't even pack them.
Vic's gonna kill everyone. Carlos Lysing, famously known for running the incomprehensible death segment, is coming. I'm like, you got crappy spell component. Your spell components are getting, having to make saves. This is gonna be a lot of fun. You're keeping encumbrance.
That's right. I'm gonna try tracking encumbrance.
We'll have a team of DMs. James will be in charge of encumbrance.
That's right.
Edward will be in charge of making sure your spell components are safe.
And unarmed combat is done properly.
Yes, we have like 9 people.
That's right. We have 9 DMs.
Can you imagine the players?
That's right.
They're just like, oh my God.
There's only 4 players, but there's 9 DMs. That's exactly right. We have a council.
Your
sitting at the table.
specialty is encumbrance. You know everything about encumbrance.
We have robes on. And then the light shines on us.
What is his encumbrance? So I pick up the 20 gold pieces. And then it's like so and so is lagging behind. James is like so and so is lagging behind. Why? His encumbrance has.
That's right. He just picked up that silver piece. He is now fully
6
encumbered.
inches.
That's right. Sorry.
Right.
That's good. DM GROGTALK. Well, yes, we are doing that. So Vic is saying DM Roundtable. We are going to do a live Grog Talk. I was talking to Production Goblin number 2, who has some podcasting things, and we're going to at least have you on. We're going to have the illustrious Baron, Irresistible Emulator of Cleveland, Carlos Lysing. We're gonna definitely do that during the 3 days. It's going to be great. So again, spell components, it's like everything else, a continuum of, do you ignore them and hand wave them? I don't think that feels right. If you go super crazy, you better have players who are willing to invest in that, or they're going to take their crappy characters and go away.
Well, what I like about them is I think it brings out some of the flavor in combat. I mean, I remember, John, who had the illusionist, and, and he gets, I think the vampire took a bite out of him or whatever. And so he's got and he's like, talking about the spell components and the red and the blue.
He's shooting the dust into the vampire's thing. Yeah.
And I still have that image, right? I mean, I have this image of that gnome laying on the slab or whatever, right? Was he a gnome?
He was a gnome.
He was a gnome. And
he looked like a weird, creepy gnome clown.
Right.
Yeah.
A gnome.
Yeah, exactly.
And this, this red and yellow and blue or whatever, because he described it goes up in the air as this vampire just takes a bite out of him. I still remember that.
But that's a good example of you need to have players who are going to embrace that, because you cannot, we talk about a panel of 9 DMs. You don't have time for all this. You need help. People need to want to play that game.
Yeah.
And you need to put it out there as the DM. You need to see what the reaction is. And if you want to do that, you need to encourage those players by, you don't have to give them XP bonuses, but say this is the kind of game that we can have. Those memorable moments only happen if you do these type of things. Mm-hmm. A lot of players don't want the struggle. They don't want the struggle of, oh, well, how much sand are you carrying around?
Mm-hmm.
How many color sprays can you cast before you run out of the spell component? They don't want that. So anyway, I think that's a good idea. So we kind of briefed about early level. David Thompson talked about having darts. You've got your one spell. Hopefully it's a good spell. Mm-hmm. You're going to use that spell. But in the meantime, you're going to throw darts. You're going to stay out of the pack, or you have a dagger. Now again, one of the other limitations, a huge limitation, because they're weak fighters, they don't fight very well. They're to hit as hard. They only get one weapon of proficiency at first level. And if they use a weapon that they're not proficient in, they get -5 non-weapon proficiency.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And they don't get another proficiency till they're 6th level.
Yeah.
So, and they're very limited. They have a dagger, staff, dart. So typically, if you want to be useful and not get killed, you pick dart.
Yeah, you pick dart, yeah. And then the downside, though, is, of course, with the melee rules, is that you can't
melee into combat or whatever.
And that disappoints, right? Because the magic is, okay, well, I got the dart, so I'm going to stand back and I'm going to throw darts. And then you got to say...
Well, you could throw and kill your other people.
Exactly.
But they actually, if they have a decent dex, which they normally would, because you want that, they would... to hit AC 10 is 11. Yeah.
It's not very good.
But if they have a decent dex, 15, 16 dex, they actually +1/+2 to hit, plus or minus, whatever the dex adjustment is. Mid-level, and to me, mid-level, they become if I know people have charted the progression of power of players. They start changing the trajectory at about 5th level, because 5th level is when they get access to 3rd level spells, which we've talked about: Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Phantasm Force. I mean, there's so many good 3rd level spells.
They're having a growth spurt, so to speak.
Right. 2nd level, there's good spells. 3rd level is better. If you can get to 3rd level, you've got some 2nd level spells. Invisibility is good. Web is good. Strength, Stinking Cloud is very powerful. But Lightning Bolt, Fireball, I mean, that's the iconic thing. They're casting the Fireball. A fighter, against 10 or 20 orcs, that'll take them 20 rounds to beat them down. Fireball could most likely kill them all.
And even at first level, Sleep is an awesome spell.
Sleep is amazing.
Really awesome spell.
Super overpowered.
Yeah.
They can fly, they can haste. Again, if you have a number of fighters, hasting your fighters to get them double the attacks, that's tremendous. Of course, you better keep track of age. So mid-level, they become in their own. They can change the battlefield where, again, if you have a game with heavy combat, the idea is the fighters are fighting, the thieves are trying to sneak around, dispatching. Clerics are either healing or using hold spells or silence. Magic users, they can change the battlefield. They can either speed up your team or they can cast slow, which again, you have a creature that does multiple attacks, slowing them, reducing their attacks. Very powerful, especially if they're super powerful. They just have so many spells. So 5th, 6th, 7th level, they are at least an equal or sometimes better. The problem is if some creature gets on them, and this is where your party, a lot of times, if you have undisciplined fighters, they run up and attack. And then if there's a flank attack or something, the magic users, the clothies, The squishies, they have, they can get pounded pretty quickly. As we saw, you can have a very powerful magic user, but if they're jumped on and they don't have a way to protect themselves because of their low hit points, they can die pretty quickly. And a lot of the spells don't have a level cap. So that fireball, if they're 18th level, they roll 18d6 damage.
Yeah.
So they're linear. They scale up. Eventually that fighter, even if he's a 13th level fighter, he gets a 5 per 2 attacks if he's not using specialization. There's only 40 hit points they're going to do or whatever. Magic user, 13th level hit points, 13th level fireball does a huge amount of damage to a number of creatures.
That would be a lot of fun. I remember I played a cleric. A cleric had something similar to like
a flame strike thing.
Yeah, and I remember. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it was at a convention, and so I usually don't play high level adventures. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Yeah. So that's when it becomes fun, and if you're mid level, you start having scrolls. You've acquired a number of scrolls, so you have. The challenge is, I think one of the other things that I think you do a good job, and most of the DMs I've seen, but this is hard for new players. They have to be very careful how they cast their spells. Spell casting is not like, I just cast Fireball. Well, you have to tell us where you put the center of it, and then depending on if you're playing Theater of the Mind or you're playing with a grid, or you could Fireball your own people. You could potentially sleep your own people. These effects are. The spells, a lot of the spells do not restrict the impact.
Like Lightning Bolt.
Right.
Edward was doing, he was helping me out at the tournament, and someone I think they cast Lightning Bolt, and it was ricocheting.
Right.
And he's drawing where it would go and who it's hitting.
So that's why a lot of Magic users a lot of players don't like playing Magic users, because it's a lot of work, and if you screw it up, you could kill your party.
Well, and it's hard. Like I know a lot of times at conventions too, people say, "Well, I don't want to play," or in just a pickup game, will say, "I don't want to play a spellcaster because it takes time to learn. It's stressful." Like I played a cleric, and you're reading the spells. A fighter's pretty easy to pick up, but you've got to read the spells, understand the spells, and a lot of them are vague.
And if you have a DM who is going to adjudicate things by the book, or at least their version of it, you sometimes, if you haven't played with them, you don't know how they're going to adjudicate some of this. Or you've played it a certain way, and then you realize, I haven't played it the right way. I thought if I cast it this way. So that's what makes it challenging. And again, if you're a DM and you have a new player and they want to play Magic user, help them out. Their character supposedly has 18, 17 intelligence. They're super geniuses or geniuses. Mm-hmm. They're not going to fireball their own people. So give them a chance to go, hey, just FYI.
Yeah.
You would know, your character would know they would kill themselves. Now,
right, you just killed the party.
Yeah, if you keep doing that and they don't learn, well, then that's a different story.
Right.
But at least the first time.
And that's always sort of the interesting thing about the intelligence of the player versus the intelligence of the character. Right. Somebody's going to be like, hey, would I do, I wouldn't do this because I'm smart. One of the things, too, the downsides of being a spellcaster is that somewhere Gygax indicates that intelligent monsters will typically go after the spellcaster if they see it. So you can be in the back doing this, casting your spell, but you may attract some attention if they see you and they're intelligent and go after you.
I think we talked about in combat and spellcasting episode 6, which is, by the way, our #1 listened podcast and viewed YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
And what was that on? That was on
episode 6, combat.
Oh, well, that makes sense because it's confused. People probably want to learn.
Right. I don't know if we helped them with that, but they tried. They spent 2 hours with
we
us.
didn't dispel confuse. Right.
Yeah. So if you're casting a spell, if it's from a memorized spell, you have to stand. You cannot be moving around. You lose your dex bonus, and you're focused on that. You are an easy target.
And you don't. You just said, I'm sorry. You lose your dex bonus. And I always thought, I know this is not the rule. Thank God, because things aren't going to be harder on poor magic users. But you can be attacked and still cast your spell, even though, as long as you're not hit.
Right.
So I always thought that was kind of weird. So someone's like, because, if you're not moving at all, what is it, like automatic hit or plus 20 or
it's
something?
It's +4 to hit, yeah.
+4 to hit.
You're motionless.
But it's just considered minus your dex bonus.
Right.
So I guess it's weird. Like, you're able to actually have someone attack at you.
Yes.
And I guess you just...
The idea is, again, most of these spells have a somatic component.
Right.
You're still moving around. The guy is coming up. He or she's trying to avoid being attacked by other people and makes the attack. It is definitely a compromise, because as we talked about many times, the idea of to hit, you're not just hitting once. There's this melee that's going on, and what you're actually rolling for is that one opportunity during the melee round where you're feigning and parrying that you're going to score damage.
Right. Oh, and we may have
So it
talked
kind of falls apart with that, but that's the rule. How
That's fine, yeah, and let's not make it too much harder on them. And I think we may have talked about this last time. Would you give the range as yards outside?
Yes, the range is outside, is yards.
So a spell, that's weird.
Area effect is the same regardless.
Oh, okay. So it actually says that somewhere.
Right. The fireball is still a 40-foot radius, if I remember correctly, or 20-foot radius, 40-foot diameter, inside or out. So, but range is in yards. So fireball, is 20-foot radius sphere. That's in inches, but the range gets converted to yards outside.
Very nice.
So yeah, if you're 200 yards away, or if you're...
What if you're in ruins?
Huh?
Ruins.
Well, that would be a DM adjudication. Is it outside ruins or inside ruins?
Yeah, there's a lot of holes in the roof.
There's outside. Well, then how much? You'd have to roll percentages. If you'd have to, I would. There would be your random. It's 50% cover. Roll under 50. It's considered outside.
I got you.
That would be good. And then you have high level. This is when, again, I think why most DMs get frustrated and they usually give up, because it becomes so difficult to write modules that will challenge the players, but yet not be just this painful exercise. Again, you have spells that Wizard Eye allows you to scout out a whole area. Invisible Stalker, Legend Lore. By then you've probably given out a crystal ball. Teleport. They have all these abilities that you have to think about, either generically as a DM or specifically for your players, and decide, are you going to try to react to them beforehand? And it becomes hard. So experienced DMs have a lot of ways around it. I know Vic in his Keep It Blood Red Falls, he has, he's allowing very powerful characters, but he has ways around it. So those are things you need to think about as a DM. So hopefully that's why it's important to start at beginning level and work your way up, so you can, as you get more spells. And there's this idea that your game group is going to have some ideas of how they do things. And just these creatures, these monsters that they're fighting, they're powerful too. They're not going to, this idea that you can push Zeus with a push spell off the cliff and kill Zeus. That shouldn't happen. There may be other ways to defeat his avatar on the prime material plane, but push spells shouldn't be happening. So, but that's why a lot of DMs get frustrated, because they have such powerful. You're not a TPK DM. I'm sorry, Vic. I'm just saying you have ways to manage as your power level goes up. Whereas a lot of entry-level DMs they read the spell, it sounds broken, and they go, "Well, but yeah, sure, that's how it works." They just teleport in and kill the bad guy. Well, there's ways to protect themselves from that. If a powerful warlord knows that he's going to be attacked, he's going to have magic. He's going to hire magic users to put things around them to prevent them from being found. And
that all kind of goes back to what Gygax said in a very low level venture, Keep on the Borderlands, right? Which is that they're going to be smart too. Play the monster smart.
Right.
I mean, depending on their intelligence. So I enjoy playing the goblins kind of stupid, because they're kind of stupid.
Well, they're low.
Average. Right, average, paren low. But so I give them as kind of, they're not incredibly clever. And I think well, that's true. Vic mentioned he just plays by the rules. That's true. I mean, we know that if you play by the rules, things can be quite deadly. Yeah. No matter how much power you have, if you play by the rules, there's enough stuff in here to kill you. And later editions have, or even 1.5, Book Thou Shalt Be Named, they start adding these spells that magic users would have, contingency spells, so that if this happens, if an arrow gets shot at me, I cast automatically my protection from missile spell that I've pre-stored. Again, I think the thing with it is, as you get higher level, you're talking about, and then of course inevitably we have to talk about Wish, the 9th level spell, because. And we probably need to do a separate podcast because we're at near our end. But you get spells that are literally, what do you wish for? Right. Alter reality. You had a wish spell. You guys had a wish spell.
Right. We had a wish spell.
Right.
Right. You get wish spells. You get time stop. You get all these ridiculously powerful spells. So it comes down to working with your players, and I think one of the things that Gary Gygax talks about in the DMG, when someone wants to create their own spell, if you wanted to add fireball and it at the end of the fireball shot out a magic missile and hit people, let's say that's the spell they want to make, it would be at least 3 plus magic missile plus an extra level. So that would be like a 5th level spell at a minimum. You could argue it's a 6th level spell. Wish should only be as powerful as other 9th level spells. And it talks about, you can't say, I want all the gods to disappear or something to that effect. So
proportionality.
There has to be some proportionality. You are mortal still.
Right.
So that's some of the things that you want to leverage. And again,
you could blow your roll though.
Right,
so you find a wish
that
spell, and you roll. Right.
You have an 85% if you're 18 intelligence.
Okay.
Go ahead, roll it. You got it.
What do I wish for this podcast to end.
Okay, well, congratulations. Congratulations. We're about
I'm
there.
having a good time.
But this is some of the things that you as a DM, because again, we have a lot of folks who've been DMing for decades, and we appreciate that. But we have also a lot of folks who are sending us, this is the first time they DM, they haven't DM'd in 20 years. So we're kind of focusing on them. So in the chat, how do you deal with high level spells? When you've got players who can cast teleport, wizard eye, wish, legend lore, where a lot of your adventures may be questing or figuring out, discovering, murder mystery. Hard to do those if you can speak with dead and you can do legend lore and you can commune and all these other.
They're kind of getting around everything. You write this amazing adventure and they're like walking through it because, and one of the problems too I find is as a DM is you probably don't know the spells as well as the players do because the player has the spells, they've read up on them, and you're sort of like reading it. I mean, how many times have we pull out the player's handbook, we're all reading the spell or debating what it can do, and so as the DM, you oftentimes really don't even know what your players are going to be able to do.
And I think in first edition, it was kind of assumed you knew everything, and you were kind of you were the most versed. But that flip, I don't think that's necessary even in first edition anymore. I think what you need to do, and I've heard other DMs say this, is kind of understand the rule and then make an adjudication there that seems reasonable, and then worry about it later if you screw it up.
They can backfire if they're above your level, right? That's the backfire rule, above your level.
If you're casting off a scroll, that's right.
If you're casting off a scroll, right? Because otherwise you couldn't. You can't cast off somebody else's book, can you?
Well, so in the book that shall be not be named, they do offer a chance you can cast a spell out of the spell book.
Oh, and so there's like,
So then you still have the level differential issue where if the spell is higher than you, there's a chance of failure or a negative reaction, like it blows up backwards.
And we should mention, and this doesn't just apply to magic users, but because we tend to forget this, is that the DMG describes spells in greater detail. Not all of them, but when you're having debates over spells and what they do, it's not just the player's handbook.
Right.
It's also
so unfortunately, you got to look through two things. But in the end, that process is the same. Be fair. See if it makes sense. Give the players a break because, again, you have all the tools and options. But also give the monsters a break. You're really there to be a referee and promote the story in the module. That's what you're trying to accomplish.
Oh, and so and David Thompson noted about it's all about resource management, running out of spells. Remind me too, with our group of DMs, we need somebody who's in charge of like light sources.
Yes.
Your oil's out. Your torch goes out.
That's right. Your torch.
Do you have another torch?
Do you have another torch? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're in the darkness.
You're in complete darkness. Now you're moving it.
The demi-humans see, warm blobs next
warm
to
blobs,
them. But the humans are like, huh?
They're being holding hands.
And then it's like a knoll.
That's right.
A troll.
I know.
Get the torch. Oh, there's a
troll.
There's
exactly.
A troll standing there.
Exactly.
A giant goat.
Right. You are the final arbiter. But I think, that's what makes this game, particularly first edition, why we still love it, is there's a lot of scenarios, there's a lot of things written in it, but ultimately you're going to have to adjudicate that. And I would not be afraid of later levels. I think that's why a lot of people are fearful of them because, as you've said, you just started DMing, and all of a sudden people are throwing all these things that you got to do, and you're like, well, okay.
I'm fearful of them.
Yeah, and you just got to go, okay, well, what do you think it says?
Yeah.
and let them say, oh, I think fireball, it does, I don't know, 400 damage. That doesn't sound right. Why don't you read that again? And you have to have players understand. I mean, I had a situation where, someone was wanting to cast Ice Storm and on Frost Giants. And I said, they're immune to cold damage. That's what it says in the fire thing. Well, it's doing pummeling damage because they were, the actual hail was his argument. And I said, no, that's not. I get your point. I appreciate it, but it's ice damage. We're going with that. He didn't like the answer, and we kind of had a back and forth, which is very old school rules lawyering. Mm-hmm. But in the end, they said, no, that's what I'm ruling. This is what we're moving forward, and we got over it, and it wasn't a big deal. But that's you have sharp players. They're gonna work the refs. They're gonna work you, and you just gotta stick to your guns and say, this. What is the rule? What does the say about Frost Giants? They're immune to all cold damage. Not cold damage, even though it's piercing. Because if it was, it's
like a frost brand or something like that.
Right.
Well, I mean, what you do normal damage, wouldn't you?
Right. You do normal. Well, you could do normal.
I guess that was his argument.
Yeah,
right?
that's what he's saying.
Wow,
So,
being a DM, this sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, being a DM is you got to like that.
Oh, I love that picture.
Which one?
Hold on, because it's. Oh man.
Which?
Oh, this is terrible. Dead air. Never mind. That one.
Oh, that's right. The Jackalware killing. There's so much. That is our suggestion. Look through the player's handbook. This is how you should use the monster manual. Show you how your players will die horrible deaths.
That's
right.
awesome.
Anyway, I was looking at Frost Giant. It says, they are immune to all whatever. Impervious to cold is what their special defenses say.
So the thing is, because I throw a cold rock at you, it's still gonna. I mean, I understand that's the player's argument, but you gotta.
Right. Is a cold rock the same thing as Ice Storm? It's magical cold thing. So.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, how does the? Okay.
But I could have ruled it.
Need to read
but I could have ruled it the other way, and it would have been fine as well.
But then, what's the pummeling damage? Don't you have to figure out the pummeling damage then?
Well, I'd have to figure out rock. Well, he'd want to do the same damage, and I said no, that wasn't going to be the case. So I think I adjudicated.
Oh, the same damage.
Yeah, and I said no, that's not going to be the
case. So the argument being that the damage doesn't really come from the fact that it's cold.
Right. It's that these hailstones are hitting them.
Right. I got you. So it'd be the same damage.
So I think I reduced the damage. I think we adjudicated that.
Compromise.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, I think that's great. I think we are done with that part. I think magic is. Anyway, we could talk for 2 more hours, but everyone's got a life.
We haven't forgotten. Let us know if we missed anything big.
That's right.
After this cleric, we didn't talk about turning.
Yeah, we didn't talk about turning. Talked about creating magic items. We talked about how to acquire spells. We talked about magic items.
We talked about no armor. We didn't actually go specifically through that list, but I think you listed.
By the way,
some of the items
they can't wear
use.
armor. That's right. They
can't wear
limited
armor.
Weapons.
They can do a dagger, which ain't bad.
Right. Dagger, dart.
That is bad.
Dagger, dart, staff.
Not bad. That is bad.
Dagger, dart, staff.
You can throw. Is that? Yeah, it's like really bad. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Dagger, dart, staff.
At least first edition.
They can use oil.
Poison,
question mark. No shield.
Magic users again next week? Oh my goodness. I don't know. Oh yes, homunculus. That's right. So yes, they can create homunculus. Find familiar is another thing that a lot of. We should just go over find familiar. We
should just do every spell. Number one.
Number one, first spell. For magic user?
Yeah, do you know it?
Oh, it's got to be.
I mean, it's alphabetical, right?
Hold on, let me think. Detect magic? No. Is it what's?
It begins with A.
A.
Do you want me to give you the initials of the?
No, go ahead.
There's 3 words.
Oh. Affect normal fires.
You got it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Once you said 3 things. Thank you. Yep. Affect normal fires. Yes, that could be our segment. We'll just go through each spell ad nauseum.
Let's see what I'm reincarnated as.
What is that?
You
rolled 2 different things.
Oh, what am I rolling?
Roll that.
Sorry.
Okay, we're segueing. We're done here. 29.
I'm an elf.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyway, so we talked about that. Looking forward to Illusion. That's right. Next week is Illusionist.
Yes.
It's also I'm doing nothing next week. You're running the Illusionist show. I'm not.
No, we should have John. Try to get John on.
Okay.
Jezebel's Corner.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get John on.
He loves Illusionist too. Aren't you running an Illusionist?
He may be out of. Yes, I am. I can talk about my experience with him. I think he's out of the country, but I'll send him a note.
Okay. Oh, and I know Rob sent me an article I need to pull up about how Illusionist came about.
Okay, good. Yes. Well, so you're doing all the work next week for once.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
I got a poll to put up for the name of the goat. And okay, cool.
Okay.
Hey, where's you know what? I should have wore it. I gotta put that down too. T-shirt. So what I appreciate you putting these things because I copy the chat and then I look them over later in the week so I can know what we're talking about. This is how I remember the goat and everything else. So T-shirt, yeah.
What T-shirt? What do you have?
I think I'm gonna. Well, I have a Rush T-shirt.
A Rush, okay.
I have a Van Halen T-shirt from 1982 that I can't wear here. It would be people would be turning off because it's probably be more like a bra because it's so small because I was much thinner back then. And it's also shrunk.
82. Wow, what was that? What tour was that?
Diver Down.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there you go.
Uh-huh.
Judas Priest, Queensryche. I'm sure I have some of those other ones. Maybe even have a Who one. I saw them a few years ago.
No Dio.
I've seen Dio, but I didn't get a T-shirt. I got cheap after a while because
they're really expensive.
Such a
they're very expensive.
Journey, that's right. Well, hey,
Journey.
I would have loved to see Journey.
Don't stop believing.
Or don't forget to go to the metal T-shirts. Absolutely. So let's talk about suggestion.
Okay. I see I'm up there first.
Yep.
So you've mentioned to me that there's been inquiries. Well, inquiries is an exaggeration.
We did have a comment on YouTube. Hey Dan, which Tolkien map book and guide do you recommend? I heard you mention a couple times and wanted to get a copy of what you have.
Yeah. So the one I have it's an older edition.
Yeah.
But it was by Karen Wynne Fonstad, Fonstad, the Atlas of Middle Earth, and it's really good. I don't think you should read Lord of the Rings without it next to you. It really will help.
Karen, what's her last name?
It's Fonstad, Fonstad. Karen Wynne, W-Y-N-N, Fonstad. That name sounds familiar, so I believe it's that. I think that is.
But this is the Atlas. When we were talking about The Hobbit, you were like, because I told you how much. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of words and this and that. And I said, and you're like, oh, you don't have the Atlas when you read it? How can you do that?
Oh, it changed my life.
Wow.
I'll make sure.
Life changing.
It was Atlas. I'll confirm. You can go ahead and talk about your suggestion, but yeah, it's really good.
I think we had that. Yeah, so that is the Atlas that you used when you were doing it. So
yeah, because I have an older edition.
Well, maybe you can let me know, and I'll put that when I do the show notes.
But I believe it is Karen. I believe that is because this is the third edition.
Okay,
this one. So I believe that's absolutely what it is. So. And
you've mentioned because we had the discussion about how Fellowship of the Rings when I read it when I was 13, I was like, ugh, this is so painful.
Oh, that's my favorite. We're like the total opposite. This is my favorite.
It's 800 pages of songs and long poems, and then they fight at the end.
They find the elves. You don't enjoy that part?
No.
Sleeping under the stars?
No, that's...
Yeah, no, it was, and you can get it for paperback, Prime. You can get it tomorrow.
That's right.
You can get it tomorrow for just $17.16. And you can start reading. It's got the part with the farmers, whatever's the.
I'm sure it talks about
Farmer Maggot.
Tom
Bombadil's got the old forests and all that. It's great. That's the best.
So anyway, I think that's a good. I need to get that. So there's a potential Christmas gift for me.
From whom? Oh.
Okay, never
Oops,
mind.
That was awkward.
Yeah, that was awkward. So
okay.
I'm sad.
Hey guys, why don't you use our Patreon money?
No, I would not use our Patreon money to buy a book. No, it's not.
You told me before we got on the air that's what we're supposed to do.
Wow, you really are just trying to. So yeah, send all the hate to info@GrogCon and just put Dan hate, not me, because I'm the one who reads the email. I'm the one who reads it or Twitter. Use Gnome as another name for the Noldor. Yeah, interesting. So there you go.
Okay.
Again, I am a casual consumer of Tolkien. I would love to say I'm versed in it, but you've mentioned it provides the context that, particularly on Fellowship where they're setting everything up, that if you don't have it, it's very painful.
Yeah, well, it's hard to know. Yeah, you don't know where they're at.
Okay.
It's hard to follow.
So my suggestion is Hero Forge. Hero Forge allows you to create custom miniatures. If you're not fortunate like Vic, who has a 3D printer and he showed us, he was demonstrating that in one of the episodes he came on. You can create custom miniatures. I think one of our players, Doug, he's a gnome illusionist through that. It's a beautiful piece. They're not cheap. they're an investment. So you better like this character and want to keep it. But if you want a custom one, I think it takes 2 to 3 weeks to do. I went to their website. Pretty impressive stuff. We're not sponsored or anything. It's just sometimes if you're using table miniatures, especially if you have a character class that's not common that you don't have, it's nice to have that. Hero Forge, my son showed me that and I thought it was pretty cool. All right, we're ready to roll.
Let's do it.
We've been 5 for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, hopefully it got better.
Let's see what happens.
10.
This was a 10?
Or is it a 0?
No, it's 10. 1 to 10. 10.
This is the best episode ever.
I find that hard to believe.
Did I roll the right die?
That is a 10. I'm showing everyone. 10. We showed. See, loves us 3. 10. We rolled a 10. 10 out of 10.
Take that, critics.
That's right. So if you're thinking, I hope this gets better. I hope this is
the best it gets.
This is so you can
unsubscribe. Any better than this. If you didn't like this episode, stop watching.
Unsubscribe now. Unsubscribe.
This is as good as it gets. We have no room for improvement.
This was the best it gets. So if you're on YouTube, which you were on, you can unsubscribe. We're on Twitter at GROGTALK.
Yes.
Don't follow us.
Don't give us a dislike.
Grog Con, just take it out of your favorites. Google Play, iTunes, just ban them. And please review, like, and subscribe. We're 2 weeks away from Grog
something
Con. Wow, we're getting punched drunk here. 2 weeks away. So, I think we're going to try to go next week. We're going to have our thing, but we got a lot of work to do, and you've done a lot of work. I need to catch up. So, thank you for everyone out there.
Thanks, guys.
Making it a 10. Yeah, so I appreciate it, everyone that's out there.
We're like Bo Derek.
Sorry?
We're like Bo Derek. 10.
Now.
Right?
We're Bo Derek now.
Right. We're the Bo Derek of podcasts.
Which she's still better than me, no matter what. Yes, we are the Bo Derek of podcasts. Or we're the Dudley Moore. Wasn't he the person in it? Was Dudley Moore?
Yes.
He's dead, so that's why.
Yeah.
He
was like a gnome, wasn't he?
He was a gnome. Take me around the park.
More lifespan than that.
Yeah, that was my terrible British accent. Okay, I'm shutting up now. So, I'm James.
I'm Dan.
Thanks to everyone out there, and we'll see you next week on Grog Talk.
See ya. Thanks, guys.